Welcome back. Big 12 college football pregame presented by AT&T and the big bad man, the Commissioner Brett Yormark. They're ready for the showdown today. He's going to be joining our JB Long and Mike Golick in the booth. We are going to have Coy Wire out there as well. The big hats are here, which means it's time to make predictions. Victor, I'm going to have you go first. I can't believe that you put this on.
Why?
Because your hair is immaculate. You get it cut before every show.
It is coiffed.
He gets it cut 2 times a week.
I think that's a stretch, but I try to just look my best for you guys here on the show. I'm going to go with, look, the streak ends today.
Wow.
35-27 KU, baby.
It goes with the fit.
It kind of goes with the fit. It kind of goes with the fit.
Taquillo?
You know what, Vic?
Ooh,
I agree with you.
Let's go.
Sweet 16 stops right here, 38-31. I got Kansas being able to do the damn thing today.
Wow, yours kind of looks good too. Because Champ's not here, I've decided I will pick. And look, I've gone through all the notes. All right, Kansas State 0-3 away. Kansas better in one-score games. And everything about it makes me want to pick, but I'm not about to sit up here and look crazy. I think Avery Johnson's about to run wild. And I didn't wear this purple suit on purpose. It happened. But forget our dumb hats. The rain is falling. Will a streak fall as well? Kansas looking to make history and break a 16-year curse. Leipold has heard enough. He is ready to take the Wildcats and send them back to Manhattan. Kansas looking to do what hasn't been done in nearly 2 decades and change the trajectory of Kansas football. You think this doesn't matter? They're out there in the rain. They got ponchos on. Forget your little comfortabilities. They are out here to make you uncomfortable. And we are here to watch Kansas State in the Sunflower Showdown. Coming on the other side, JB Long, Mike Golick Jr. and Coy Wire. But right now, the energy that is college football. These boos are going to be incredible.
All right, here we go in Lawrence. 54 degrees and a steady drizzle. These are the conditions in which the Jayhawks hope their drought will end, but the Wildcats arrive playing their best football of the season. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Big 12 football on TNT Sports, presented by Modelo. K-State and Kansas for the 123rd time. And welcome inside the booth with Mike Golick Jr. I am JB Long. What an honor to be here for this great rivalry.
Incredible. The 123rd installment of this battle in a rivalry game. In modern college football, all the movement, all the change, this sacred in-state, that familiarity can breed a lot of animosity over 123 meetings. And you see Kansas leading the series all time, but we know Kansas State, as of late, has owned this rivalry. But in recent years, JB, Kansas inching closer and closer to that ultimate prize.
You see the post-game handshake there between the two quarterbacks. Let's start with Jalen Daniels. And being around the Jayhawks this week, it's tough to tell who wants it more. QB1 or the coaches that helped raise him.
As long as he's been here, his name's etched near the top or at the top of almost every meaningful quarterback statistic. The last thing evading him is a win in this rivalry that's so important to everyone in this state. And with 18 touchdowns against only 2 interceptions, a big bounce back in that category after last year, he's given him a chance in every game they play. And on the other side of the field from him, one of the most heralded quarterbacks coming into the season in the Big 12. And while Avery Johnson got off to a bit of a slow start, after their bye against Arizona, they feel like he's been playing some of the best football of his career, using all of that athleticism to really stress an opposing defense the way he hopes to today.
Before we kick, down to the field, the third member of our team, Coy Wire.
All right, this student section right here has been outside since 4 a.m. getting in line to come in here. They are ready. It's about to be on. Now, Kansas State offensive coordinator Matt Wells has been part of the greatest college football rivalries of all time. Army, Navy, Red River. He says there are respect rivalries and hate rivalries. He says this is a hate rivalry, and he loves how much Kansas State hates Kansas. But these Jayhawk fans have something to say about it. They feel it's their time to shine. It's about to be on. John, baby, this is one of the rock school. I belong. Woo.
Thank you very much, Coy. Kansas won the toss, elected to defer in these final moments. Before we begin, Mike, I know you've got a great taste of rivalry in your background, too.
Certainly, and we mentioned before, hey, in this day and age, a lot of guys transfer in, maybe don't know or feel this the same way they used to. These staffs, these teams, both because of their quarterbacks, because of the care they take. We talked to Chris Kleiman, who said he has the Kansas guys from this team address the rest of the squad, let them know what it means. And I know you prepare for every game the same way, but I'll be darned if your heartbeat doesn't ramp up a few extra beats per minute going through this week, knowing the helmet sticker you're about to see when you come running out on that field.
Sold out, David Booth, Kansas Memorial Stadium. A series that dates to 1902. It's been played every year since 1911. 6,202 days since the Jayhawks have held the Governor's Cup. We're about to get started with Laith Marjan teeing it up and kicking it away. Bryce Nornberg and Devon Rice, the return men for the Wildcats. Both teams had the bye to prepare for the 123rd collision. The Sunflower Showdown from Lawrence, Kansas begins now. Nornberg gets a chance. Fumbles! A takeaway on the opening kick. A linebacker pounces.
You mentioned the weather off the top, JB. It's the #1 thing you worry about during slick conditions, ball security. And right here, not even a major hit from Jalen Dye on the play, but just enough with that shoulder in conditions where you got to think about it a little more. Now sets Kansas up for an incredible opportunity to get this day started on a hot note.
And for Jalen Daniels, the 22-year-old senior, one final chance to beat Kansas State. 0-4 in his opportunities, a legacy game, and set up on the 25. Misdirection in the hands of Cam Pickett and spilled at the 22.
Trickeration right off the bat. Isaiah Marshall, one of the backup quarterbacks, in on that play, coming around on jet motion, trying to give this Kansas State defensive unit and Joel Klanderman a lot to account for, especially down here just outside of the red zone.
The red zone and third down were the two areas of concentration for this Kansas staff during their bye week, and offensive coordinator Jim Zabrowski. Daniel Highshaw Jr. in the backfield. Middle throw and shaking a tackle. It's Bryson Canty with a first down. B.J. Payne in coverage. A pitch and catch of 9 yards.
They use all the attention paid to tight end Bowden Gruen on the outside and slip it underneath. And then, hey, if you're going to have the rain and wet conditions, you might as well use it to your advantage right there, trying to catch a greased pig.
Lance Leipold 5-1 coming off a bye in his career with Kansas. Again, it's Highshaw now in the pistol behind Jalen Daniels. And they're running. Hitting the hole, spins off contact and stumbling to the 12. Highshaw, who returned from a 2-game absence in the most recent loss in Lubbock. He played more than KU expected in that game.
Excited to get that returning production from him, and tempo right now for Kansas in the red zone.
Down the line, Emmanuel Henderson Jr. barging through, hit hard at the 6. Gunnar Maldonado made the tackle, a pickup of 6 yards and close to a new first down.
Fast pace, multiple formations, still 2 tight ends on the field. You're trying to get Kansas State to have to account for the full 53 in the third. Let's see if they take advantage of one of these tight ends in the middle of the field.
Third down in the red zone. The QB pulls out on the edge and into the end zone. Ball did come loose. Kansas State pointing the other direction. The ruling on the field is a touchdown for Daniels.
So now all eyes on, did that ball break the plane, that's all you need is the ball carrier. Nothing after that will matter. Great job, Jaylen Daniels, putting his foot in the ground, getting to the end zone here. And then we see that ball, that down the line angle is going to be really important because you see it coming loose. And they already expedited that review. The ruling on the field is getting reviewed right now, excuse me. Oof.
You do see the immediate recovery there from Quay Moss and the Wildcats. Henry Johns, our referee today. And you get a look at the Big 12 Replay Operations Center in Irving, Texas. First game of the day in the conference.
And this is the difficult part to tell from this angle. You see him reach the ball out and try and extend it. You see the ball come loose before it's touched by a defender. It's all going to be. And this is where it's important to remember. The ruling on the field was touchdown. And so they've got to have that indisputable evidence to overturn that. This another example, and he's not even wearing gloves. It's just that kind of day where the football is going to be difficult to get your hands on. Fumble on the opening kickoff showed us that. And now the potential first scoring play seem to be following that. It's hard to tell from these angles.
Well, let's call out the two captain linebackers, Austin Romaine and Cody Stuffle, being both in on that goal line hit.
And for this defense, we know it hasn't quite been up to their standard in recent weeks, dealing with the loss of Toby Osinsami, as one of their best pass rushers. So everyone else has to pull the rope a little bit tighter. Everyone else has to do a little bit more. And who would you rather rely on than Cody Stufflebean, who's been a mainstay, a two-time captain for this team?
Jaylen Daniels' first college touchdown was an 8-yard keeper against K-State back in 2020.
After further review, the ruling on the field is upheld. Touchdown.
A day that began with a forced fumble on kickoff turns into a touchdown and an early 6-0 lead.
And I think the right call based on the angles we saw. There did not appear to be enough to overturn what was ruled a touchdown on the field. So while it's close, down in the goal line, you only need to break the plane, and everything after that wiped from the record book. 6 on the board for Jaylen Daniels, and a big day for him.
Leif Marjan strikes the point after. He's been great. All the specialists for both of these programs have been a highlight here in 25.
When you talk about how much the staff wants it, how much he wants it, look how fired up Jaylen Daniels was. And to capitalize, you're beginning of the game. I mean, JB, I can go back to before kickoffs and games. Once you see the coin toss decided, you know our defense is going to go out there first. You're over on the sideline trying to get your mind right. And all of a sudden, you see that ball hit the mat, and you've got to snap into gear. You've got to go right into an area that you mentioned has been trouble for the Jayhawks on offense this season. And so to come out and get that score under your belt early, what a huge confidence boost in a game where they're trying to write 16 years of history that's been on Kansas State's side.
Both coaches talk extensively about the value of special teams in this game. It establishes the Jayhawks with the early advantage. You saw Chris Kleiman there. You know, he said coming into this one, he felt like they're an ascending football team, that they've gotten better in all areas. They're looking like the team that preseason was ranked and thought to be a favorite in this league.
Highlighted certainly the quarterback and Avery Johnson of the decisions he's making, but the offensive line, both of these teams have offensive lines that have improved each and every week so far this season and done a great job protecting their highly valued quarterbacks.
Norenberg back to receive again, along with Devon Rice. A turnover leads to a touchdown, and a 7-zip Kansas lead. Norenberg again from his 3. Hit hard and dropped below the 20. Leroy Harris has been a stud defensively, getting it done on teams.
And you hear this crowd fully throated, ready to go today. I do love that for Norenberg, though. Get your confidence back right away. They're going to need you all day here. Go out, field it. You're not afraid of putting it on the deck again as this Kansas State offense gets its first crack of the day.
Avery Johnson, his 22nd career start. And last year's win in this showdown, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, did lose a fumble. Has to reload. Going vertical, Jace Brown brings out the flag. Mike, if I saw this correctly, the side judge threw the flag into the stands in the slippery conditions, but I believe there's a penalty on Kansas.
Little slick for everyone, and caught him grabbing out here on what looked like an RPO turn scramble.
Holding. Defense number 26. 10-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Jalen Todd, the versatile defensive back.
And on this play, Avery Johnson pulled it and looked like he was ready to throw an RPO hitch on the outside. It was covered down initially, and so Johnson patted the ball for a second. His receiver broke upfield. He takes a shot, but understands he's got a chance to draw the flag and does just that.
Sophomore defensive tackle Blake Harold hit him. A new first down. Joe Jackson in the backfield. They fake the handoff to him, move the spot. Avery layers it in. The Lincoln Cure, the 5-star freshman, with a gain of 13, and now tempers flare, and another flag soars. Taylor Davis, the Jayhawk, in coverage.
Sorry about that, JB. It was going to be that kind of day. The tension high on both sides and some early laundry here. And I'm guessing on Kansas, judging by the reaction from the crowd.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 20 of the defense. I'm sorry, number 20 of the offense. The result of the play was a first down, 15-yard penalty, first down Kansas State.
So they've highlighted Devon Rice, a redshirt freshman running back.
We'll check out the fray over on the sideline. Again, the catch from Lincoln Cure here. Taylor Davis over on the sideline. And then I wonder if it was that shove we saw in the back of Davis while he was over in enemy territory. So you're seeing Rice on the sideline there. And yes, he gives Davis the shove on the sideline. Easy call for the official, and inexcusable if you're a guy not on the field to involve yourself in the action like that in a way that hurts your team.
It's number 20's first unsportsmanlike of the game.
Bit of housekeeping there. Dylan Edwards injured, not available, so it's Joe Jackson again, offset left. Avery Johnson with a glance to his sideline, now takes the shotgun snap. And they'll sweep it with Jackson. Hit at the line and spilled at the 29. As recently as the Week 3 loss at Arizona, Joe had 0 touches, but lately back-to-back career performances without Edwards in the lineup.
Excellent work both as a runner and what he can do as a pass catcher out of the backfield. And that's sort of a theme for this offense. Like Kansas, multiple tight ends, running backs that can catch out of the backfield. A lot of things that, especially at the linebacker level on defense, you've got to be ready for.
And they're healthy at wide receiver, really for the first time since game 2. Rushes on. Safety valve is Jackson. Up the sideline and close to the line to gain. Justice Finkley knocked him out.
And this is where, if you're Kansas on defense, you've got to be ready for Avery Johnson to call his own number and use those legs in 3rd and short.
Needs one, does give. First down picked up with a face mask. 2 officials caught it. A carry up to the 46 with more coming for K-State. Credit Jackson with an 11-yard run here.
You see an easy call up the middle as it looks like Lyric Rawls, the guilty party.
Personal foul, face mask, number 2 of the defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
All right, you've overcome the early penalty, right? The unsportsmanlike conduct over on your sideline. You get a reprieve. Your offense has been able to spread the ball. We mentioned Avery Johnson's legs as something you've got to account for on defense. That last play, the first play, RPO, zone read, making sure he's got that ability to potentially impact that defense on every play, but allow him to make the right decision.
Devon Rice in motion, in the game in the backfield. So from empty, Johnson across midfield after that penalty with a new set of downs. Gets a 4-man rush, well protected. He's going vertical, and that's caught. Jace Brown to the 5. The vertical threat for the Cats strikes early with 34 through the air.
Great job by Avery Johnson, just buying time in the pocket. But Jace Brown, your team leader in receptions and receiving yards, boxing out, getting like a basketball player there and getting himself in front of Taylor Davis at the catch point. And then in the rain, sometimes using your body for that little added force, a big help.
Now, red zone dominance has been a hallmark of the Kleiman era. They've been efficient scoring points, but not as many touchdowns this year. Their first opportunity of the day, a chance to answer back in the first. Jackson up the middle. Held out of the end zone for now, below the 2. Harris jumped on his back and dragged him down.
This Kansas State offensive line been off to a hot start, and now we see the jumbo package, 3 tight ends in the formation down here by the goal line. And Kansas gets the opportunity to match. We see some of their big personnel. How about Keenan Caldwell, the 6'3", 325-pounder, going to try and upend this offensive line.
This drive has covered 80 yards in 6 plays. Oakley, the motion man, settles on the right side. Sprint acts. Avery Johnson calls his own number. And a chance to tie it with an extra point. 4th rushing touchdown of the season for Avery Johnson.
Boy, the similarities between these teams, remarkable, right? The veteran experience of the quarterbacks, but also the skill sets, the multiple tight ends that are usually things that help make you incredibly successful in the red zone as a defense. The jumbo group comes on, but getting Avery Johnson on the perimeter and encouraging Matt Wells and his coaching staff to put his foot in the ground and make plays like that, eerily similar to the touchdown we saw to start the game from Jalen.
Luis Rodriguez has been excellent. Arrived in Manhattan just as preseason practices kicked off this summer. 7-up in Lawrence in the 123rd Sunflower Showdown.
Great blocking from Joe Jackson, great finish from Avery Johnson, and a fired up Kansas State sideline after a great response. 7-all here in Lawrence.
Big 12 college football on TNT Sports is presented by Modelo, the official beer of the college football playoff. And by Vanda Pharmaceuticals, innovating in the pursuit of people's happiness.
Great score from Kansas State, and I want you to watch running back Joe Jackson at the point of attack. This is why you run the quarterback, so you're +1 blocking. He gets to play cleanup. You don't get the down block you want. He gets a piece of the Kansas D lineman, just enough to spring his quarterback to the end zone and tie this ball game.
So both quarterbacks with a rushing score. Daniels was disputed with a fumble as he went in, but upheld on review. And so 7 apiece on a dreary but yet inspiring day here in Lawrence. And set to kick it off, the punter Simon McClannon, a sophomore from Omaha. Emmanuel Henderson is the dangerous return man for the Jayhawks. I imagine they'd like to keep it away from him. He's already got a 94-yard return for a touchdown here this season. They do put it over in the hands of Keaton Rebecca, who takes a fair catch and gives it back to Jalen Daniels.
Well, now if you're Kansas on offense, you get a chance to settle in. Most teams come in with that opening script. Maybe it's 10, 15 plays you've got in the opener. That sort of goes out the window when you wind up down in the red area. That's a special set of plays in its own right. And so Kansas is going to get a chance to try and go and operate its offense, really have its game start here. And since we're tied 7 apiece, everyone's on schedule.
Of note, that was the first touchdown that K-State has allowed on an opponent's first drive. A field goal by Baylor, the only points on a first possession against this defense. They had a head start after the takeaway on the kickoff. From an empty shotgun set, Daniel Highshaw Jr. gets a carry from the slot. 5, maybe 6 on first down. And we'll give the tackle to Romaine.
Kansas using tempo as a weapon early on the first drive and coming back to it here on drive number 2 as they go 5 wide around Jalen Daniels.
Early to the flat and off the mark. Highshaw his target.
See the matchup coordinators, Joe Klanderman and Jim Zabrowski, going to be going toe-to-toe all day. The mathematician in the booth for the Jayhawks on one side, and Klanderman's unit again without Toby Unsansame. A huge loss and a player up front that had been as dynamic as any on that Wildcat depth chart.
Now he was replacing Brendan Mott, who led the Big 12 in sacks last season. Short sack for Daniels, nearly intercepted. Des Purnell is on a heater, and he was almost going the other way for 6.
And you never walk away from the table. Last week's Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week, 2 weeks ago, versus TCU. One of 2 defensive touchdowns on the day for them, 2 interceptions on the day. We asked Klanderman, is he lobbying for offensive playing time? Does he want to be a goal line fullback with hands like that? An incredible play to get the defense off the field.
Vin Lappin, the Big 12's leader. Punt average with a miscue. It's scooped. It's scored. What a redemption moment for Ralph Ortiz.
Weather games always seem to be defined by wild special teams plays. And you mentioned Ortiz was actually the player before that got the personal foul penalty on the sideline when a Kansas running back went off. And he had to push a Kansas defensive back, excuse me. We had mis-ID'd it before. So he has the personal foul that hurts his team before. And now the fumble recovery for a touchdown off the punt block to put his team up 7. What a swing.
It was announced as 20 on the offense. That would be Devon Rice will clear his name, and Kansas State's on the high side. A low snap. The Cats pounce, and they capture the lead. Historically, this K-State program built on non-offensive touchdowns. They just got their 4th of this season.
We see right here the low snap on the punt for Kansas leads to the scoop and score. And you mentioned coming into this game, 138 non-offensive touchdowns since 1999. Keep adding to the pile. 2 against TCU. The last time they saw the field, picking up right where they left off.
It's Emory Duggar, the long snapper, with that low delivery to Finn Lappin. And so after fumbling the opening kickoff, what a response from K-State on the road here in Lawrence. They now lead by a touchdown. Henderson will get a chance from his own 3-yard line. Crunched at the 20. And special teams miscues have also played a large role in recent outcomes in this series.
You go back to 2023, Kansas second quarter extra point blocked and run back. 3-point swing on that play, and then up 3 in the 4th quarter. Kansas muffs the punt, setting the Wildcats up for the game-winning touchdown drive. And then 2024, Jameel Croft fields the kickoff out of bounds at the 1 and sets up a safety on that first play of the drive in a game that Kansas would ultimately lose by 2. So more of that showing up early today.
3rd possession for Daniels. A touchdown run and a punt so far. Try Highshaw right side. K-State shuts it down after a gain of a couple.
And you got to be careful of that tendency to tense up a little bit. We've seen the ball on the mat plenty. Everyone's over on the sideline, re-emphasizing ball security, something you work so hard to make second nature that now has to be top of mind again. But you still want to give your team the opportunity to go be explosive if you're Kansas.
After flipping the string at the mesh point, Daniels carries. He bursts through. Jalen Daniels up near the 40-yard line, and this time he holds on with 2 hands. Way Moss knocked him off his feet after a pickup of 15 yards.
Trade motion to start, and then everything coming back here. You're going to see the kick out by both players coming in motion, creating that seam for Jalen Daniels. Getting the opportunity to once again impact this game on the ground and move the sticks.
Second in KU history in passing categories, but showing what he can do with his cleats early in the Sunflower Showdown. 8-minute mark, already 3 touchdowns on the board. Highshaw barreling through, able to shake the first hit, and he's got 9. We'll see about LeShawn Williams today. That's the running mate. But they've kind of flipped their roles almost with their respective health in recent weeks.
Yeah, Williams got a little bit banged up in their last outing, but both have been productive so far this season. Highshaw second on the team in carries, with preseason on the Doak Walker watch list. An incredibly impactful player.
They'll operate with 3 receivers and a single tight end for second and short. Against a 4-down front. Daniels patient to the hole and upended with a couple and a new set of downs. Let's send it down to the field and see what Coy's up to.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see it on the TV, but it is just a slow, steady mist coming down all over the football. We saw that fumble on the opening kickoff. Of course, the botched snap on that last punt attempt by Kansas. The players are soaked too, so these defenders got to get their full pads on a guy. No arm tackling in weather like this.
It's a great reminder from Coy, a former defender himself, that the angles in this game are going to matter a lot. We've seen plenty of guys slipping and sliding off ball carriers.
Leighton Cure and Bowden Groon, the two tight ends for Kansas here. Well protected. Top shelf. Henderson couldn't get there.
Boy, they had the opportunity they were looking for. Henderson, who's been a human big play this season. He's going to be the post route behind the dig, so number 10 on the inside actually looks like double post. So trying to draw the eyes of the safety so you can go over the top with Henderson, who last time we got to call a game of Kansas, a career-high 214 yards against Cincinnati, and a huge game for him.
And touchdowns of 93 yards and 75 yards in that narrow defeat. Jayhawks go back to the ground. Nice shot. Tornadic for close to 10. They do grant the first down.
And this steady, methodical approach on the ground is what gives you the opportunities for those big shots down the field that we know Jim Zebrowski wants to take with his quarterback. But now the defense gets to have to start to make that decision. They usually want to sit back there with two high safeties. Does someone roll down closer to the line? You start getting greedy, and do you leave yourself open for a play like we almost saw to Henderson 2 shots ago?
Cam Pickett sprinting to the widest right position, and now Groom, the tight end, also in pre-snap motion. Staying stubborn with the running game. Highshaw for a few, keeps the Jayhawks on schedule. They've run 7 plays on this possession.
Long, patient drive, multiple personnel groups. Emmanuel Henderson back on the field right now, especially when you get to the +40. Second down, this is perfect shot territory. So if you're the defense, you're looking at tendencies, your antennas are up, and you've got all eyes on 1 and blue, the left side of the formation.
Sean Williams making his first appearance, offset right in the Kansas backfield, and he'll take heat, looking for the edge, and stumbling out of bounds below the 35-yard line. Obi Izor ran him out. It will be 3rd down, and it looks like 3 at the 5-minute mark, first frame.
And you'd imagine, especially given the weather and the difficulty we've seen snapping in special teams, probably 4-down territory out in this range, sort of no man's land in terms of that distance going forward. And so I think if you're Jim Zebrowski, you've probably got the green light to call this as if you've got 2 plays in your pocket to get that first down.
Daniels dodging traffic, flips it out into trouble, and it's 4th down. Canty the target. Daniel Cobb's out there defensively for K-State.
Boy, and you just look at the numbers over on this side. Wonder why that ball wasn't handed off. The quarterback, I think, on that play has the option to pull it. And his offensive line looking back a little confused. I think they saw all the lanes that we did up here in the booth. And no surprise here, the go on 4th down. Once again, I think you get your quarterback, Jalen Daniels, on the edge, give him that 2-way go. If there's an easy pass to be had, take it, and if not, use your legs to get the first.
Highshot returns to the game at the tailback. Blitz coming. Daniels fumbles. A 4th down takeaway for Kansas State. Malcolm Alcorn Crowder at the bottom of the pile.
And pressure right up the gut, even for a veteran quarterback, always difficult to stomach. We'll see as we get a look at replay on this. The double barrel looked up front from the defense, a pick play in the middle that turns a defender loose. Ball on the ground, and Kansas State takes over up 7 when we return.
We knew the elements and the emotions would play leading roles in this Sunflower Showdown already first quarter miscues piling up.
Kansas State right now on the better end of that. Came into this game 4th nationally with 7 fumble recoveries, and you saw Desmond Purnell's work again impacting this game. Last time out, 2 takeaways. They're the forced fumble.
Avery Johnson to work from empty. Moving the launch point. Flips it away as Trey Lathan was knocking on his door.
And it's going to be interesting to see if there was a receiver in the area on that. He was outside the pocket, but the ball didn't get back to the line of scrimmage. And this crowd imploring them to throw
No intentional grounding. Number 86 was in the area. 2nd down.
They say Garrett Oakley was in the area.
Garrett Oakley, who's been the security blanket in a lot of ways, helping out here. Trey Lathan doing a great job tracking him down. And Garrett Oakley in the area. He's tied up on the block right here, but is in the area. So getting out in a bit of a technicality there, but a big break for this Kansas State offense.
They've been remarkable at avoiding penalties this season. And one of the secrets to their success lately. Devon Rice to the 46 to shorten up 3rd down. Blake Harrell got the run stop.
Huge 3rd down for this Kansas defense, and I think for DK McDonald, we'll see their best pressure on a 3rd and medium plus, where you've got a chance to get Kansas State in true drop back. You're on the other side of 50. Not sure if this is go territory yet for the Wildcats.
Jayhawks mugged up. Here they come. The blitz hits the QB. KU will cover it, but it's incomplete. Bengali Kamara getting to Johnson. It's 4th down.
And they went right to the same blitz that Kansas State used to cause the fumble on Jalen Daniels. You're going to watch the 2 linebackers right here, and Kamara just going to come straight through. One of the slipperiest rushers on this team, and does a great job impacting that throwing arm of Avery Johnson. Bengali Kamara, incredible going towards the quarterback. 4th in the Big 12 in tackles per loss per game. Gets behind the line of scrimmage as well as anyone.
Finan gets the punt away. Nagy steps up, says get away. And a roll down near the 20. That felt like a massive stop, momentum-wise, for Kansas.
Huge. No blood drawn off that turnover by your otherwise incredibly dependable quarterback. We talked about Jalen Daniels year over year. 12 interceptions last year for him. Atypical for this player, and so to come back this season and have a clean sheet through the air, but give it up on the ground, you know he's going to be eager to go back out and pay his teammates off for that complimentary football now from this Kansas offense, who just got the quick 3 and out from their defense. Now going to try and give him a long touchdown drive here.
Daniels has put it on the turf twice, got away with the first. It was ruled that he had broken the plane and scored a touchdown before the fumble. Most recently, strip sacked on 4th down to give it back to K-State. Nothing doing up the middle. It's smothered by Austin Romaine.
This linebacker core, the heart and soul of Joe Klanderman's defense. Romaine leads the team in tackles, 10th in the Big 12 in total tackles. We've seen Purnell getting his hands on the football already. An active bunch this year behind that defensive line that's playing more 4 down up front than they're used to try and get those linebackers free hits.
Saw Emmanuel Henderson start in the backfield. Now they motion to empty. Daniels against the blitz. Cuts it loose. Back shoulder. Oh, what a catch. It's incomplete. Kabeka looked like he brought it in, but it's incomplete. It's 3rd and long with Zayshawn Rich in coverage.
One-on-one coverage, that motion out of the backfield showed Daniels it was man-to-man, picked up the blitz from the other side, and had it going all the way to the ground. Looked like that impact with the turf jarred it loose. Credit to Zayshawn Rich staying through and making contact up top, but that just looks like a straight drop aided by the weather.
And Klanderman says he's been nailed. Their lockdown guy, they try to get him wherever the action is in their secondary. Daniels in 3rd down and 11. Nearly intercepted. Ryan Davis at 6'4" had fingertips on it.
What a clever call from Joe Klanderman on the other side. Both blitzes off the right side, but that last play where Daniels went on that side, thought it was man-to-man coverage. This time, they drop Ryan Davis out, They roll the corner back. You see Zayshawn Rich bailing out on that play, and Daniels just never sees it. Lucky that ball wasn't intercepted, just out of reach.
Davis had that early season hip issue that limited his effectiveness. He's now back to form right as they lose Toby in their pass rushing unit. Another errant snap, this one safely away. Lockett lets it take a Kansas hop, now scoops it up and gets it back to the 28-yard line. Special teams going to be an adventure today in the 123rd Sunflower Showdown. Back to Coy.
Yeah, guys, Jalen Daniels seems to be having trouble with these defensive looks that Kansas State is showing. They're mugging guys up in the gap, sometimes 6-7 players, and you don't know who's dropping back into zone coverage or who's coming blitzing at you. We've seen now 2 near interceptions that were both dropped by Kansas State. Complete confusion for Daniels on those looks.
All right, thank you, Coy.
And for a veteran quarterback who has as many reps under center, you expect him to do a better job digesting a lot of that. Credit to this defense for being able to establish the tone right now and dictate the terms, as we got Avery Johnson bumping out to receiver.
Brown behind center with a lead blocker named Jackson. Oh, he throws another big hit. Remember, Joe Jackson helped lead the way for Avery Johnson's 2-yard rushing touchdown. Now escorting Jace Brown for 8.
You think he enjoys contact? Give him a chance out on the perimeter. They use that fake throwback to the quarterback. Woo-wee.
Johnson back at the switch, throwing on the move. This time through the air, Jace Brown. Giving ground to slice through tacklers to the 44. 20 yards, and they're in the Kansas territory. Austin Alexander finally wrapped him up.
You're going to watch him, number 3 on the inside of this bunch to the left-hand side, and he just goes on that switch wheel. The route on the inside buys up the defender, and he's wide open for an easy pitch and catch.
Johnson using his cadence here, checking to his sideline. He's got trips that way. First down in plus territory. Run shut down, a sure tackle made by Trey Latham.
We mentioned the linebackers on the other side for Kansas State. For Kansas, Bengali Kamara, we already called his name, but Trey Latham to transfer after 3 years at West Virginia, where he was an impact player, 79 tackles a year ago. 10th in the Big 12 in tackles coming into this game. They need him on those plays to be active when the offense is trying to throw those RPOs, use the numbers. Your box defenders have to handle the run.
Avery Johnson 4 of 6 so far. Sets the laces and whistles one. Completes. Jerron Tibbs turning down the hash marks for a new set of downs at the 28.
And speaking of the RPO game, Tibbs has been the guy for him. You watch him in the slot, just finding space, settling. Kamara clearing out to run with the running back, Elston. And so it opens up that easy spot right there in the hook. And first down yet again.
The final seconds of an adventurous first quarter. K-State looking to add to its lead all day to wing one. End zone on the money for 6. Tibbs with a 27-yard touchdown.
Outstanding throw to his dependable target. Jerron Tibbs has become a guy Avery Johnson can go to in a variety of situations. We'll show you after this kick how Garrett Oakley and all the success he's had at tight end helps make that play happen.
With that touchdown toss, Avery Johnson matching Josh Freeman for second place in K-State history through the air. 44 and counting for the junior from Wichita. This one goes to Jerron Tibbs.
And you're going to look here, going back to the touchdown play. I want you to watch Garrett Oakley going up to the second level. He's going to buy up that safety. All the attention that Oakley's drawn lately, the safety understandably worried about that as a threat in the end zone. And as he crosses his face, it opens up just that little extra window. But credit to Avery Johnson, an incredibly difficult throw running out of real estate to drop it right over his shoulder in the end zone.
Now, Garrett Oakley's celebrations and his touchdown streak have been the story in Manhattan Tibbs more businesslike in the end zone.
Maybe that's it. Maybe Kansas is tired of watching Oakley do all these dances in the lead up to the game, and so you guys end up flocking to him. But boy, Tibbs in recent weeks, especially as they've settled in on offense, Matt Wells talked about how comfortable Avery Johnson is throwing those run-pass options, and Tibbs has really been the guy that can not only get the ball in his hands, but make great yards after the catch.
Only Will Howard ahead of him now, and Coy talked about the pre-snap issues from Daniel's perspective. You know, Kleiman told us that's where Avery's improved the most, his pre-snap reads. In fact, as a defensive coach, he likes to spend time early in the week with his quarterback to help clarify that picture.
An invaluable perspective to show you what the other side of the football is thinking and give you that added insight.
Simon McClannon puts his laces into it. Henderson over to field it. Runs into trouble, and his own blockers below the 20-yard line. So 6 seconds left in a first quarter that started with a ton of momentum in the home team's favor. They forced a fumble and got a touchdown following that opening kickoff. All Kansas State since.
And you see right here, ever since that touchdown where they were set up near the red zone off the fumble, it's been miscues of their own, both by special teams and by your quarterback in Jalen Daniels. Everyone's got to take a deep breath. This is where having a veteran under center matters most. That conversation on the sideline before a big drive like this to close the quarter.
Daniels only 3 of 9 passing, so they hand it off Heath. It's been a physical day for Daniel Highshaw Jr. Really working for that short yardage, and it'll take us to the seconds. A rushing touchdown and a 27-yard strike through the air for Avery Johnson. K-State has the lead. You're watching Big 12 football on TNT Sports. Presented by Modelo. Kansas State with a 21-7 lead over Kansas as we open up the second quarter here in Lawrence with the Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark joining us upstairs with Mike Golick Jr. I'm JB Long. Great to see you. Welcome to Lawrence. And what have you made of your Sunflower Showdown so far?
Well, first of all, guys, thanks for having me. It's a thrill. And I want to start off by thanking TNT for all you do for this conference. It has been a great start of what I hope will be a very long relationship. And after football, we move into basketball together. So I'm excited about that, too. By the way, the venue here, they've reimagined it. I don't know if you guys have been here before, but obviously I have. And what they've done across the board here is just magnificent. The premium spaces, the sight lines. They've got a little bit more to finish in the next phase. But, boy, it's a great place to be.
It's certainly emblematic of the continued growth of this conference. Just how impressed have you been so far this season with, once again, the depth on display in this conference each and every year?
You know, I said it during media days would be the deepest conference in America, and I've said that now 2 years running, and this year is no different. We've got 5 schools that have 1 loss or none. We've got 4 schools already that are bowl eligible, and maybe another 4 today. So the parity plays out each and every week. I think the latest data says that we lead FBS in lead changes in the 4th quarter, which is incredible. Again, speaks to the parity. So very, very excited about the season to date, and obviously there's a lot more for the rest of the year.
Daniel Henderson had the first down catch. Daniels dodging traffic in his backfield, and he's sacked. Jordan Allen gets one. It's a loss of 11. Commissioner, feel free to break this play down for us if you like.
No, listen, I've said to everyone that would listen to me there, I got 16 kids, and I play it right down the middle. I'm very, very neutral. But obviously, K-State's off to a great start today. But, you know, Kansas is deep. They got a great quarterback, and we'll see what happens over the next couple of quarters.
We were talking about the build towards the Big 12 championship. Cannot wait for Arlington, December the 6th, Saturday at AT&T Stadium. what a future matchup that could be.
It's going to be a great one. And, you know, listen, we're just thrilled to be partnering with the Dallas Cowboys. AT&T Stadium is one of the finest venues in the world. And it's very aspirational for our student athletes. They all want to end there for all the right reasons. And it's our biggest tentpole event of the year, and it'll come down to the wire. I mean, last year, heading into the last weekend of play, we had 9 schools that mathematically could have ended up in Arlington, and I think you'll have something very similar this year.
You mentioned the world and aspirational. This is a season for the Big 12 that started over in Ireland, and next year we'll be moving to London as Kansas, one of the teams representing in that matchup, as we got a big third down here for the Jayhawks.
Daniel stepping into trouble, and he's decked again. This time it's Ryan Davis. It's going to be 4th down in London here. They'll have to punt.
Ryan Davis, one of the guys stepping up as this defense looks to continue to offset the loss of some of its pass rushers from last year to this year. Just a great individual effort up the middle on that twist. That a coverage sack. The defense on the back end playing incredible ball. But Commissioner, returning to that point, we saw some of the contingent from London over here this week visiting with Kansas. They'll be one of the teams abroad next year. Just how important is that to the continued growth of the conference, increasing that footprint?
From my perspective, I think we have a chance to win globally. And you mentioned it earlier. We were in Dublin with a conference game, which was very, very exciting. And then we'll be going to London next year on September 19th. It's a Kansas home game. They're playing ASU. I was in London last week and spent some time at Wembley. It's an iconic venue. It's a world-class venue. I think it's going to be great for our student athletes, but it's going to be great to be able to plant the Big 12 flag in another country. And they love their football there. I was told there's over 17 million avid football fans in the UK, and obviously the NFL has been there. I think they've played north of 40 games, and we're really looking forward to drafting behind the NFL and bringing our brand of football to London.
Avery Johnson takes over. Finally, I know part of the reason you're on this trip, Big 12 basketball media days. Give us a preview of what's to come, and arguably the best basketball conference in America.
But you know what I tell people now? We're the second best league behind the NBA in the country. And I truly believe that. We are loaded. You know, you think about the star power across this league. We got better because of the transfer portal. We obviously have a lot of returning players from last year. But 8 of the top 20 high school players last year are calling the Big 12 home this year. Peterson here at Kansas is going to be a star, projected 1 or 2 in the draft. So there's a lot to look forward to. And I think it might be the deepest year ever for Big 12 basketball on the men's side.
If his exhibition performance against Louisville was any indication, the hype is real. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
It's great to see you. Thank you for the kind words about TNT Sports.
Thank you so much, guys.
We're having a blast. 3rd and 1 awaits Johnson and K-State.
And once again, a huge third down for this Kansas defense, but this time a lot more advantageous. Last time around 3rd and medium plus. This time around Avery Johnson, flanked by a tight end in that pistol. Great chance to go downhill.
And a timeout, K-State, before he takes 3rd down and 1.
First charge, timeout and a half, Kansas State. Media timeout.
And we'll take the timeout with them. 21-7, and a critical 3rd down awaits on the other side.
Welcome back to Lawrence, where it's 21-7 Kansas State, in large part due to the incredible work from quarterback Avery Johnson, who's been helping manufacture the big plays that have eluded this offense in the air, calling his own number on the ground. But the maturation of Johnson since that Arizona game, since their first bye, has led to some of these incredible throws down the field. And look at the hair, feathered and flawless, Poseidon, the god of luscious locks, cutting it loose for the Wildcats so far today.
He's been able to win from the pocket, but this might be an instance where they put him on the move. Instead, he gives, and they run for a 1st down. Joe Jackson for a fresh set in plus territory.
They'll go tempo now. You mentioned calling his number, but it's that threat of his run that held the backside of that defense and allowed the easy run for 1st.
They stick with it. right, what's this note that you slipped me? You want to talk about the improvement of the Kansas State offensive line? What a surprise, Mike.
I thought you'd never ask, JB, and it's led by two extremely veteran players in the middle. Sam Hecht at center, Taylor Portier at left guard, one of the captains on this team, both 20 consecutive starts coming into this game. And you've seen them not only paving the way, but helping this team problem solve on the sideline. Matt Wells said when you've got that kind of experience for your guys in the middle, they're going to help make calls. They can also come to the sideline and help you work through some of the things you're seeing in live action, as we see a Kansas defense struggling to do that right now.
Personnel issues as they attempted a substitute.
First charge, timeout of the half, Kansas.
And they'll spend a timeout to avoid a penalty. For those who don't know, Mike's playing days were down in the trenches at Notre Dame. Although days like these you used to dread, right? You may not have had the snap control of Sam Hecht.
Yeah, the measurements for hand size at Pro Day weren't overly kind to your boy. And as we've seen already, ball security has been difficult, and it's one of the first things you worry about as a center if you are Sam Hecht, who's got to go out there each and every day and get it started, each and every play, get it started for this team. You want to make sure you've got firm control there, especially in the shotgun, knowing, hey, if I get it back to my quarterback clean, he can make a whole lot of plays happen.
Let's go down to the field and check in with Golick.
Oh, Golick Jr. sure eats like an offensive lineman. We're at Q39 barbecue last night. I saw this man inhale an entire brisket and burnt ends and all in one inhale. He says my body's a temple, but it was the temple that had the tables flipping over and everything. Love my boy Mike Jr.
There's no lack of hand size when the poutine fries were out there.
Quota was in the splash zone right next to me. I felt bad for the guy.
In motion here, they fake it to Brown. Johnson ducks down with another first down at the 34-yard line.
All the things you can see right here. You see the motion man come over here. This is a design run for the quarterback up the middle. And who better to follow than the big fella, J.B. Nelson, back healthy up front, helping this team, 6'5", 325, clearing the lane as the puller for Avery Johnson.
3 starts this season coming in, did not play the last couple for K-State. So one of the pieces that got right at their bye. Wildcats on the move. Johnson would just live to see second down. He had Rice out there in the flat, but a mature decision. Playing with a 2-touchdown lead.
2-touchdown lead, you get into plus territory. We mentioned this earlier. This area of the field, similar to the last touchdown pass we saw from Avery Johnson, is one where you still have enough room to run some of your great deep shot plays. If you want a hard play action sell here, try and once again use your tight end, Garrett Oakley, who's been somewhat quiet receiving the ball, but been great at buying eyes of the defenders.
It's an offense that scored 34, 35, and 41 points their last 3 times out. Jackson cut down in space. Dean Miller played it well. It's third down. It's a loss of 5.
Oh, and we talk about the shot plays down here. Jerron Tibbs was wide open in the middle of the field. You watch him here in the slot. He clears the safety level, throws his hands up, and he just never gets to look from his quarterback. He was hitting his head on the goalposts if Johnson saw that downfield. And now 3rd and long for this Kansas defense to get a chance to pin their ears back and rush the quarterback.
Now those two have already linked up for a 27-yard touchdown. Work to do here on 3rd down and 15. Avery Johnson from empty. He's got a free rusher coming after him. Keeps the play alive and incomplete. DK McDonald sends the pressure and gets it to 4th down.
Great job by Avery Johnson, though, understanding where he's not protected. Sees the defender coming off that right side. The captain, Justice Finkley, comes over before Dean Miller puts the hit on at the end. Used that athleticism, rolled away, and got the pass off at the very least.
Kind of caught in no man's land here, aren't they, as they let this play clock wind down before making a 4th down choice.
Might be a situation where you take the flag, back it up, and give your punter a little bit more room to work with as you try and keep the ball out of the end zone and flip field position.
There's Kleiman knowing that the points he surrendered so far, they came on that short field to begin this game.
We saw them harassing Jalen Daniels on the last drive. You've already forced a fumble today. And so trying to give your defense those added opportunities that they've earned with the way that they've gone out, to Coy's point earlier, disguise, confuse the opposing quarterback, and gotten their shots in when they can.
Simon McClannon, the sophomore from Omaha, has already been honored as the Ray Guy Award Punter of the Week for his performance against UCF. He's a high end over and punt that Nagy catches at the 14. Big drive coming for Kansas, trailing 21-7 in the Sunflower Showdown in the rain.
Welcome back to Lawrence, where Jalen Daniels has struggled so far today in a big rivalry game, trying to notch his first win against Kansas State, but just can't quite connect with his deep threat Emmanuel Henderson. Hasn't quite seen the picture presented by the defense, harassed in the pocket and put the ball on the mat. It's going to take remarkable maturity for him to take that deep exhale and try and get back to making the plays this offense has seen him make time and time again this year.
Trailing 2 touchdowns, he begins a new drive from his own 15-yard line. 4 completions so far. Le'Shawn Williams gets the carry. One of the things that Daniels said this week, and one of the reasons why he wants to win for Kansas so badly, is because he knows when he wasn't at his best, physically, performance-wise, the Jayhawks didn't turn their back on him. Here's another day where, through a quarter and a half, he's not been at his best. Let's see if he can turn the tables.
This team certainly trusts and believes in their quarterback. They know the big plays that he's made for this program. They know the big plays he's made this year. And so if you're that group up front, especially Bryce Foster, one of your captains at center, you got to strain a little bit harder to try and give Six some time.
Only a yard on the ground. Emmanuel Henderson Jr. crossing the formation. Able to hit Pickett. Stood up right where he made that catch. And be 3rd down and short coming. Rich in coverage, limiting the gain to 8.
Getting back up to the line quick. They don't want to let this defense get their feet set.
8-minute mark, a QB sneak for a new set of downs. So a rushing touchdown for Daniels. Able to pick up a 1st down here. What an important drive. Remember, Kansas won the coin toss, elected to defer, forced a fumble on the opening kick return, and grabbed a 7-0 lead.
We're not quite at that 4-minute mark, but that middle 8 you always hear talked about, important in this game. And if you're Kansas on offense, you can churn clock with plays like that. Great decision by your quarterback. And now multiple tight ends out onto the field once again for the Jayhawks.
One of them, Bowden Gruen in motion. Coming off a prolific 13-catch day, and Lubbock has a safety valve. Daniels from the pocket, swings it out behind the line of scrimmage. Hightshaw made the first cat miss, could not get away from the second. How about this moment for Des Purnell? I mean, he's doing it all for this defense.
It's been amazing. We mentioned against TCU, named the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week. This play's about timing. You had multiple tight ends motioned out to the perimeter. This is basically an extended handoff, but Daniels sits back there in the pockets. It gives time for Purnell, for Austin Romaine, this linebacker room to flow over there and make a play behind the line of scrimmage.
As you see there, the tackles for loss piling up for Joe Klanderman's unit. Got the Jayhawks behind the 6 again. Blitz coming from the edge. Good protection. Daniels on the reload. And that coverage was waterproof. Gruen was the target, but again, the man we just called, Purnell.
We saw that on the 3rd down before the punt that ended up being muffed. And you're going to see Purnell once again, eyes all over Gruen. They understand the day he had. And that's just a great individual effort.
Going early here on 3rd down. Daniels steps up. He scrambles. And he got it. Extends that arm. 1st down, Jayhawks 13 on the turf.
That's the kind of play that can get the sideline back into it. You see all the defenders dropping back off deep. Austin Romaine's a great player, but more so in a phone booth than trying to have to tackle a dynamic athlete like Daniels in space. Now you get a little breathing room. Now you get back into rhythm. Now you can start to once again see if you can get Emmanuel Henderson involved in this game in a way that's eluded Kansas so far.
If the Jayhawks are able to mount a comeback, that's a play we'll need to come back to. Daniels sets the laces, drilled as he hits the seam. It's incomplete. Pickett paid the price from Wesley Fair.
And drilled is the operative term on that play. Wesley Fair, who's splitting more time with Gunnarman than Otto as of late. But And a great job seeing what you hit, getting that shoulder into the body. Daniels takes a hit back in the pocket as well. Who else but Desmond Purnell? Just an all-around physical effort from this Kansas State defense.
Just a great rep of football. Everything but the catch on Pickett's side of the equation. Screen set up. And it takes some heat out of this K-State defense, and it's a positive gain to the 46-yard line. Dougie Million makes his first catch of the game. 3rd down and 3 left for Daniels.
Take a look at the screen set up here again. Chidobe Izor in the pocket. Looked like that hit was still well within range. I don't think any laundry needs to come out on that play. 3rd and short to medium, though. Huge 3rd down for Kansas right now.
JD6 just scrambled for 3rd down and long. Only needs 3 here. Less than 5 minutes to go in the half. To throw for it. Or not. Again, he slides with a 1st down.
Back-to-back 3rd downs where we've seen what's on the menu. Get deep routes developing downfield to try and get these guys out of here. You motion multiple times on that play. Everyone dropping off in your offensive line with just enough space.
Stepping on some tempo, and Vern gets a catch and close to another 1st down. The last 3 games for Bowden since Deshaun Haneke's season-ending injury at tight end. 20 catches, 223 yards, 2 touchdowns.
For a guy who didn't get here till this summer, the transfer from Rice.
Out of the pistol. QB keeper again, freezing over the right side. 1st down on 2nd and short. And what do you make of the decision from Jim Zebrowski to kind of change the tempo of this game by going no huddle?
I love it, and it's gone twofold with him also encouraging his quarterback. And I'm sure this is a conversation over on the sideline of, hey, if you have the opportunity to go and impact this game with a scramble, we'll call some design runs. We hear all the time from coordinators about how some quarterbacks need to get hit to get started in the game. Well, in this case, I think Jim Zebrowski realized his quarterback needs to get loose in the open field and make some plays with his feet to try and get him settled down so that those plays through the air become a little easier.
And conversely, this time they're late to the line of scrimmage. Short clock here. And another timeout spent, this time on offense, with the play clock running down to 2.
Timeout of the half. Kansas, media timeout.
11 plays, 50 yards on this march. 2 critical 3rd down scrambles for Jalen Daniels. We invite you to watch MLB Legends and Stars tee off in the inaugural Capital One MLB Open at Shadow Creek, November 18th, 9:30 p.m. Eastern on TNT and HBO Max. Go to MLB.com/golf for more details. And much like Golick before a big birdie putt, Jalen Daniels resetting during the timeouts.
Talked about taking that metaphorical deep breath. He's taking literal deep breaths, getting ready for an important opportunity for this team.
12th play of the drive. Hands off to Highshot. Steps to an ankle tackle and rumbles below the 30. E.J. Payne finally got him to the turf. It's a pickup of 6 yards.
And that a tendency breaker for that Kansas State defense, right? You saw Jalen Daniels get up under center for the 1st down QB sneak earlier in the drive. You see him here, and usually that's alerting, hey, we're getting ready for something right now. This offense that loves all the pre-snap eye candy, just handing it off there and taking advantage of some easy yards up front.
Jayhawks have not scored since the first possession. A 6-yard touchdown run from Daniels. Tied in motion, nearly a botched handoff. Highshaw saves the day. He pinned that to his hip and got them to 3rd and short.
Under 3 minutes now, getting towards that 2-minute timeout. 1 timeout left in your pocket. They all understand how important coming away with this was 7 points going into the half, but you got to hold on to the football first to do that. 3rd and short yet again.
They will need to snap it before our 2-minute timeout. Kansas 3 of 3 on 3rd down on this possession. All 3 chain movers have been Jalen rushing. Deep drop here to the end zone. Incomplete and a flag in the pocket. He was looking for Emmanuel Henderson. Not sure it would have counted. Two penalties accepted against each team so far.
Offense number 9. 10-yard penalty. Still third down.
They got Highshaw on the blitz pickup.
Just a brutal break.
2-minute timeout.
I'll give you a look as we head to the 2-minute timeout. Presented by the Wells Fargo Active Cash Card. Our 2-minute timeout was brought to you by the Active Cash Credit Card from Wells Fargo. Earn unlimited 2% rewards on purchases. Terms apply. Don't look the consequences of that Kansas holding penalty.
Massive. You took the deep shot on 3rd and 1 because you thought if you missed, you'd still have 4th and short to go for it. Now you're backed up in 3rd and long, and what I think is 4-down territory, given your range for the field goal try and this weather.
They hit motioning out of the backfield. Set up the screen. High shot. Shakes a tackle. He's got a first down, and the turf monster may have kept him out of the end zone.
Whew. Kansas State lucky there was a slick track here. But how about right guard Kobe Baines? Watch the job that he does fighting off Stupplebean initially and then getting just enough at that second level, sticking with the block so that Highshaw can get free and get the first down. And then the turf monster sneaks up.
There's a world where if Kansas gets in the end zone, that might actually be a good thing to steal more of the remaining clock from a K-State answer. Shotgun snap, Daniels. A confident stroke there. Rebecca bumps down below the 15. At least 7 there. Purnell with the hit defensively.
Plenty of clock down in the red zone. Still a timeout in your pocket. I love the call from Jim Zabrowski. Get your quarterback's confidence back by calling a quick 3-step, hit your back foot in the pocket, and drive that football out with confidence.
Remember, K-State elected to punt and play defense. Since then, 8 minutes have come off the clock. 71 yards gained by the Jayhawks. This is the 16th play of their most prolonged drive. Out of the pistol. QB takes off. He turns the corner and is shouldered out with 1st and goal.
Great block by Grun on the perimeter of that play. You see him coming across the formation, and this is a two-way go. He was looking back for the football, which tells you bootleg action. The quarterback sees numbers, waves him off, and decides to turn him into a lead blocker. Gets out of bounds, stops the clock under 2 minutes with 45 seconds left. And now looking at 1st and goal with plenty of options on the table. This is prime Grun territory here in the slot as we got 2 tight ends to the left side.
Highshaw takes the handoff. He's crushed at the 3. Gunnar Maldonado from the safety level.
Final charge, timeout of the half. Kansas, 30
Kansas
seconds.
will use its final timeout there. It looked like Maldonado was signaling he needs to come off with 38 seconds remaining. A red zone and 3rd down were the 2 focal points for the Jayhawks. 3rd down has been the story of this possession. Let's see if they can cap it in the red area.
And that's what I'm sure they're talking about over in this huddle right now for Kansas. You're on 2nd down here. You're out of timeouts now, 38 seconds left. And so you've still potentially got run on the menu on this play. But if you do, you want to have an idea of what your 3rd down call could potentially be. Not that you've got to rush, but you want to try and get up there and make it happen quick if you go that route. But based on what we saw the play before, Jalen Daniels looking more comfortable, cutting the ball loose quick in the windows presented down here. You wonder if you try and give him a quick chance on some of those offensive players call them rub routes down by the goal line, defensive players call them pick plays. As they break the huddle here now. 17 plays over 8.5 minutes of clock as they get ready to take the snap now.
Down 2 touchdowns for now, but going in, and they'll receive the 3rd quarter kickoff. Jalen Daniels calls for the snap, hands it off. High shot, still on his feet. He flexes. Would not be denied.
Well, the kicking net kept him from going through the back of the end zone. But the Kansas State defense could not. We mentioned that with the amount of time left, the run could still be on the table. But Highshaw just kept those legs churning. We mentioned it's a wet day and difficult to tackle. And this Kansas State defense, who's been on the field for a long drive, felt the weight of that as the Jayhawks punch it in and make it a one-score game.
Year 6 in Lawrence for Daniel. He arrived before Devin Neal and now is finishing well after his longtime running mates. 30 seconds left. Here's the try. Marjan perfect. The longest scoring drive by plays and by time this season in a big spot for Jalen Daniels and Daniel Highshaw in this Kansas offensive line.
Great work. And you see he's got men around his legs. He gets hit twice up top. Great strain by the blockers, all working to put guys into the turf as they're trying to reach out and tackle the running back. But just an outstanding individual effort. Sometimes that's what it comes down to in these big pivotal moments down by the goal line. Can your running back get to the second level defenders of a defense and make someone miss? Or in this case, run directly through a Marshawn Lynch style?
And Austin Romaine there in the middle. K-State's leading tackler for the second year in a row. Highshaw able to shake him off.
And we saw on that drive, and maybe it is, we mentioned it's a double-digit play drive over 8 minutes. Romaine, who's usually reliable, got put in the blender with Jalen Daniels when he broke on one of the scrambles, missed a tackle later on Highshaw in that drive. You ask a lot of the defense to keep him on the field that long. Credit to this Kansas offense for having the wind to be able to go out and execute that, and then getting down into that money area to try and put points on the board before the half and succeed.
Now the Cats still have 2 timeouts and 30 seconds. A good return here from Bryce Norenberg, and they may get up to something. They got a great kicking game with Luis Rodriguez. Norenberg will bring it out from a yard deep. It's actually Lockett that they put back there, so they make a change on kick return. And let's send it down to Corey.
I was talking to the Kansas strength coach, and he was telling me of Highshaw. For the past few years, they have tried to keep him from getting any stronger because he's so powerful and explosive. They're afraid he might hurt himself. And they saw on display that last run, that power and explosion. He'll walk in cold, knock his flip-flops off, and hit a 43-inch vertical in the weight room. He's a freak.
My goodness. Yeah, he's missed a bunch of time during his career. But when available, he's been electric. That's the K-State appetite here with 24 seconds and 2 timeouts. Jackson's going to have to break one before they step on the gas pedal. They take that to the half.
Usually the formula you see there, so as a defense, you need to deter them right away. If you pop a big run, maybe you click into that gear, but as you mentioned, Kansas State going to walk into that halftime locker room with a lead, but one that's a little closer after an impressive closing stanza from the Jayhawks.
K-State scored 21 unanswered, but the bracket touchdowns from the Jayhawks have kept this close going to the half. Let's go down to Coy.
Coach, after that opening kickoff, what is it about your team and your players that allowed them to respond the way they did?
Yeah, it was one play. We didn't make a good play, but I knew our kids were ready to play and we'd respond well. That's a good football team. We needed to make a stop there. We weren't able to, so we got ourselves a heck of a second half coming up.
Yeah, you got a one-score game now. They get the ball first. What's going to be your message to your guys?
We better tackle better on defense, and then we got to run the ball, because I think we can.
Thanks, Coach. JB.
Appreciate you, Coy. K-State at 3-4 with a couple of Big 12 wins. Kansas at 4-3, also 2-2 in conference play. The Sunflower Showdown, a one-score game coming up the Big 12 college football halftime, presented by Vanda Pharmaceuticals with Adams, Keogh, and Victor next. You're watching Big 12 football on TNT Sports, presented by Modelo. Here comes the second half. K-State up a touchdown, 21-14. The Cats have been more explosive. The turnovers have played heavily into this game so far. And before we begin this third quarter, moments ago, Coy caught up with the head coach of the Jayhawks.
Coach, an 18-play, 85-yard drive and a score to end that half. What kind of impact did that have on the mindset and mentality of guys in that locker room?
Well, you know,
sloppy up to that point for us. So it helped us with our confidence, shows that we can sustain drives. We're going to need that. Getting the ball out in the second half here is going to be very important.
Your leader, your quarterback, Jaylen Daniels, seemed a bit unsettled early on, but then really turned it on. What can we expect from him in his last ever half in this rivalry?
Yeah, you know, I think he tried to press a little bit too much, didn't see some things as well as we'd like. Settled down there, made some big conversions for us with his arm and with his legs. So, again, we need him to lead this football team.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, back to Mike Golic Jr., JB Long. What's at stake here today? Certainly bragging rights, chances for bowl eligibility, a chance to stay in the Big 12 championship hunt. But who are we kidding? Bragging rights.
Bragging rights. And look, if you're going and looking back at the first half in the halftime locker room, Kansas State, Avery Johnson, that offense, the more consistent, the more explosive. But if you're Kansas on the other side, you're saying about everything that could go wrong did go wrong for us after that first drive of the game. And we're still down only one score, getting the ball to start this second half. Lots of football left.
Daniels and Kansas sick of hearing it, but their opponents have won the last 16 and 28 of the last 32 in this Sunflower Showdown. Here comes the second half. The Governor's Cup at stake in the 123rd installment.
For Jaylen Daniels in this offense, it's about taking the confidence that you garnered on that last drive, particularly the legs of Daniels, both as a scrambler and design runner, I think need to make their way into this drive early and often.
Daniel Highshaw in his backfield. He punched in the 3-yard touchdown. He begins this third quarter, climbing to the third in the arms of Gunnar Maldonado.
And for this Kansas State defense on the other side, you had a chance to go and catch your breath. You were on the field for a long time to end that first half. You had been the team dictating the terms earlier in the game, disguising pressures, confusing Jaylen Daniels, especially at the linebacker level. You've still got plenty of confidence of your own to draw on from that first half.
Jayhawks rearranging. Highshaw back in the hip pocket of his quarterback Daniels. And a 2-by-2 sets. He bounces. And he is smothered. No gain, third down. Alcorn Crowder already has a fumble recovery. Now he gets a run stuff.
Kansas trying to spread the formation and get the box count a little bit lighter. Credit to Quay Moss, who plays that star nickelback position. And the difficulty of that when you talk to Joe Klanderman is you got to fit into the run sometimes like that. You're that extra added bit of math for the defense to be +1 at the point of attack, and you force the third and medium.
Wildcat trying to get a 3-and-out to begin this second half. Daniels was dynamic on third down on that long touchdown march going into the halftime locker room. He spins one up the seam. Too tall for Henderson. Oh, what a miss. Quay Moss in coverage. The Jayhawks will punt.
You saw press man to start on the left side of this play on both receivers, so Daniels knows if I can just give him some time, I've got my matchup with best on best in the interior with the aforementioned Quay Moss. He gets loose, and Daniels did a good job of even looking the safety off, just couldn't quite put the ball on him. And now the punt team out for Kansas.
A low snap led to a takeaway and a scoop and score. This one sends lapping left. Lockett, the return man, lets the helicopter punt bounce once. And he gives great starting field position to Avery Johnson and the K-State offense at the 40-yard line.
That's the story of the day on the other side. Jaylen Daniels and his receiver is not quite there. For Avery Johnson, that first half, 8 of 13, 120 yards, great touchdown pass in the low red zone.
But it was the one he missed, not incomplete,
yes,
but just visually missed with Tibbs alone behind the safety.
No question. And so you've got to continue to hit on some of those big plays, something you thought might be less a part of this offense with no Dylan Edwards in the backfield today, who had been that explosive element for this team.
Jackson's been the lead back, 7 carries for 34 yards. They use Brown. Has to slam on the brakes, and he's going for a huge loss. The redshirt freshman, Austin Alexander, -6.
Another east-west run, the motion coming across. The quarterback has a chance to read. He gives Jace Brown a chance, but great read on the perimeter by Austin Alexander. Your cornerbacks have to be physical to try and curb some of this lateral rushing attack for both teams that they make use of.
Second down. from behind the chains. Quick throw into the lap of Lincoln Cure. He's played every game since missing the first 3 with an injury. Older brother Leighton, part of the opposing roster. 3rd down and 11 left.
Lincoln Cure, that big target, makes his way off the field right now. As number 5, Jerron Bradley, comes into the picture in the left side of this formation. All 6'5", 223 pounds on the left side. A great target for your quarterback on a big 3rd down.
Jayhawks creeping, ready to come after Avery Johnson. Needs midfield with this snap. Look at the pocket. Extends the play, and Tibbs couldn't stab it with the trail hand.
Great job running with the play by Jalen Todd. We talked about Jerron Tibbs and what a force he's been. You're trying to get that drag and just an inaccurate football back behind the line of scrimmage. Great job sorting through the trash by Todd, getting over in the picture. Lyric Rawls comes and cleans it up, and a great response.
Nagy says get away. Checks up at the 30. And so both defenses begin this second half with a stop. Back to work, Jalen Daniels with one final chance to knock off the in-state rival. Big 12 football on TNT Sports is presented by Allstate. You're in good hands. And by Copilot on Windows. Meet the computer you can talk to. Let's talk to Coy Wire.
Yeah, talking to offensive coordinator for Kansas, Jim Zabrowski, this week. He has his master's in mathematics, former middle school and high school math teacher. I asked him what he learned as a math teacher that made him a better coach. He said figuring out how to get kids to learn complicated concepts. He says he has a quarterback. Every play, he has to solve a problem, an equation on every single play, and it's his job to help them figure out how to solve these equations.
Daniel Highshaw's been a pretty good cheat code. He's rushed for 64 yards now. Gets him started on 1st down. Gunnar Maldonado sweeps another tackle.
Zabrowski said he liked more of the equations where you get that final answer, and he threw that X = 6 to us, which I thought was pretty clever considering his goal every drive is to go out there and try and get 6, and 9 did a great job of that before the half as he factors into this drive again prominently, I'm sure.
What about the fact his quarterback wears 6? Is that taking it too far?
It's no. I think it's right on the button. I missed the obvious play.
Sorry to one-up you there, Father.
+1.
2nd down and half the sticks. Puts it in the air and a miscommunication. Bowden Kroon sat down below the line to gain. Quebeco is running the deep route.
Listen, I'm not advocating for you to abandon it all the way. You know, coming into this game, Kansas was 20th in FBS, averaging 13.26 yards of completion. They can spray the ball downfield, but the timing's been off today. Your run game's what got you back into this at the end of the first half. I'm surprised they didn't come out of the halftime locker room leaning a little bit more on Highshaw, leaning a little bit more on Daniels and what he did for you in that closing drive.
You know, on Sundays you might say known passing situation here, but on Saturdays with Daniels, they might just be spreading out the Cats to run. He does zip one into trouble. Tip drill, taken away. Daniel Cobbs with an interception. Oh, the takeaways continue to pile up for this K-State defense.
And a lot like the last drive we saw from Avery Johnson. JB with the ball behind his receiver. Here once again, you're going to watch for Daniels. The offensive line picks up the pressure to the field. He throws it back, but it's behind his wide receiver and high on the slant, so the ball gets tipped up. And as soon as you see that tip happen, Zayshawn Rich got his hand on that a little bit and I think popped it up that extra second that allowed Cobbs to come in and make the play.
Cobb just had his 2nd career interception off of Baylor's Sawyer Robertson in the end zone in week 6. It's his 2nd of the season in Lawrence with a touchdown lead. And the ball to begin in plus territory. Jackson rummaging through that right side, still on his feet in the pile. Stopped at the 38. Wildcats have had their chances to put this game out of reach early. They've missed.
And Kansas has had their chances with Henderson, who's been open on a couple of deep routes. Once again, not getting the football in a spot where he feels like he's done his work getting out from in front of the opposing defenders, and they just haven't been able to pay it off.
Johnson glancing to his sideline. He's got 6 left on 2nd down. And Jackson in his backfield. Gun run for short yardage to the 36. Blake Harrell tripped up the tailback. 3rd down coming for K-State.
Harrell, 4 or more tackles in 5 straight games. Part of that group again that in the box is going to present a ton of different looks to opposing defenses. They'll go 4 down. They'll go 3 down. They'll go 5 up. DK McDonald, who was in the NFL with the Philadelphia Eagles a few years ago, when Jonathan Gannon was in town, you see plenty of that from them, and you've seen plenty of that for the Jayhawks on defense so far this year.
An interception to create a short field situation. High leverage 3rd down. Johnson through traffic. Jayhawks say it's 4th down. And is this a go for the Cats?
I think so, and I think you go right back to the well on what you just saw there. Design quarterback power play. 4th and short with an athlete like this under center. As we see the jumbo personnel coming on the field, 3 tight ends. And I think this is a no-brainer.
You know, taking out his sack yardage, Avery Johnson has rushed for over 1,300 yards in his career at nearly 6.5 yards per carry, and he's been running more here in the month of October. I think that's generated wins.
No question. Want him to do all the great quarterback things, but never take away that stinger.
Able to beat the buzzer, or did he? Timeout, Kansas State.
Before the snap, first time charge timeout of the half. Kansas State.
I'm sure it pains Kleiman to use that timeout on offense in a 1-score game, but it shows you just how much this moment matters.
High leverage down. You want to make sure you've got everything done up the right way. This constant chess match between both teams, trying to play their best cards right up to the wire. You saw on that play we mentioned, you get 3 tight ends into the game, but what this Kansas offense under Matt Wells and what Kansas State has done traditionally so well is get those big guys on the field, but then get in little formations. Get them split out in 2 twin sets, so you're spreading the field. Try and see if you can get base personnel on the field for Kansas on defense, so you've got some maybe slower guys on the field, and you can try and take advantage of those athletic mismatches in space.
Among the boxes that K-State is looking to check today, winless away from Manhattan so far. 3 losses by a total of 10 points. Chance to get back to 500 today. Improve to 3-2 in league. They change the picture pre-snap. Rice in motion. Johnson needs a yard. And he finds it. He wasn't looking for the explosive. He was looking for the 1st down and got down.
That's a shotgun QB sneak right there. Clear everyone out. Try and give yourself the best box look possible. Great block by Devin Vass at the right guard spot. And understanding exactly what you need. We call that an efficient run up front. Move the chains.
Important to fall forward there, not to give himself up shy of the line to gain. Rice the single back as Johnson steps under center. How about this? A pro-style look. Return to center by this Kansas defense. Tommy Dunn Jr. holding the point of attack.
Tommy Dunn Jr. had that blocked extra point against Missouri in another rivalry game this year for the Jayhawks. And just like with Kansas, anytime you see the quarterback up under center, everyone's antennas go up. And then you get that methodical run up front that always feels like it's a setup. You're putting a pin in that to come back to later.
Couple of tight ends left. Targets out to the right as well. Johnson looking to that tight end side. Flips it to the end zone. Caught! 1st and goal. Chase Brown had 28.5 of the yards he needed. Came up just shy.
Unbelievable play from Jace, middle of 3 on the right side of this formation, where it looked like he was going tight end all the way.
Now the plunge from Rice. And it's back to a 2-touchdown lead for the visitors.
State after the score. That's Taylor Portier, their left guard and their captain on this group up front.
What a story, too. I mean, he was someone that this coaching staff visited in December of 18. That was the home visit from Chris Kleiman, he said this week, and he's still with us.
Overcome injury in his career as well. Knee injuries in 2021, 2022. 20 consecutive games started coming into this one, and a huge part of that last drive in helping them both pave the way on the ground and set up that big pass that got them down to the doorstep.
He and the offensive line for Kansas State have played so much better since that first bye week, since they came home from Tucson. As much credit as we've given the weapons and the quarterback, I mean, this guy right here and the good uglies up front have flipped the season.
It's been a less is more approach when you talk to their offensive coordinator, Matt Wells, paring down the call sheet, figuring out the runs that we do better, letting these guys go and impact the game in the way that we've seen at Kansas State for years. We'll take a look at it right now. So again, watch him at the left guard spot right here, right in the middle of traffic, bodies falling on the back of his legs. It's always the difficult part about being on the lines of scrimmage on either side, down by the goal line. There's just so much trash and traffic. Play goes right over the top of him, and good to see him up and moving, getting off the field. Hopefully we see him back out on their next offensive drive, getting a lot of love from his teammates.
Yeah, that looks like a guard who's going to play on with 7:23 to go here in the third. A high snap on the extra point, but no trouble for Luis Rodriguez. Timeouts in the 123rd Sunflower Showdown. K-State tacks on.
Welcome back to Lawrence, 28-14 Kansas State, and this is the play that set up the scoring drive. I want you to watch both safeties for Kansas right here. On the left side, going to get bought up by this tight end route here and open it up on the backside for the touchdown, almost touchdown pass as we roll it right here to Jace Brown, who gets inside. The left safety late coming over, middle of the field open for Avery Johnson, and even getting to it late, still plenty of time and space because of the respect for the tight ends on the left and your quarterback's arm strength.
Jace on track to lead the Sunflower Showdown in receiving for K-State for the third year in a row. And the coaches told us that he was probably only about 70% for the most recent game against TCU, closer to 90 today, and I think you feel that in his vertical stretch.
No question, and this season incredibly productive. Had his fourth career 100-yard game against Baylor, well on his way to career 100-yard game number 5. But this Kansas offense now on the other side, you had the opportunity coming out of the halftime locker room. Both offenses traded 3 and outs. Now, you've still got plenty of time left, so I don't think you need to veer too far away. Involve that rushing attack, keep giving Highshaw the ball. You saw what he was able to make happen before.
Quick access throw to Henderson. As you pointed out, they've missed him a couple of times already in this third quarter, trying to establish their biggest weapon through the air.
And make it easy on your quarterback. We saw some of the other opportunities came on double moves, deep plays, ones where you had to sit back there against this Kansas State pass rush. That time, run pass option. Quarterback sees easy access on the outside. He has the ability to pull it and make that throw.
Former 5-star running back at Alabama has made his way here to Lawrence, now starring as a receiver.
We got tight end Bowden Gruen in the backfield there in that running back spot, now motioning out.
Cam Pickett with blockers. First down, Jayhawks.
And you motion him out there to become the lead blocker. So a creative way to get to a wide receiver screen on the outside of that formation. Another play that mimics an extended run, gets you easy yards and moves the chains.
And he's a little bit like the receiver for K-State we just talked about, Jace Brown, in terms of returning to health. When we've seen him earlier this season, he's been on a pitch count. Pickett using the bye week to get to his best form of 2025. Daniels puts his foot in the ground, spins off contact, and punches up near midfield with 7.
You take a look back at this one, you're going to get a guard pulling and a man coming in motion that actually run into each other and disrupt the timing a little bit here for Daniels. I take that back, not a puller, working from the backside and just push into the backfield a little bit on that play. But either way, the timing a bit off, and so what does Daniels do? Calls his own number, picks up some great yards.
Yards after contact, too. You heard K-State talk about their tackling needing to tighten up to keep the Jayhawks at arm's length. Good penetration there, just blown upside thanks to Damian Leo, another captain, a senior defensive tackle, just changing the line of scrimmage.
Another veteran player on this front. 21 consecutive starts coming in, and he just creates a pile at the point of attack. 2 Kansas State offensive linemen there. Gets into the ankles, keeps his linebackers clean. Joe Klanderman said that's why Desmond Purnell, Austin Romaine have been so successful. They got guys up front eating up blocks like that.
Puts the Jayhawks in 3rd down and half the chains. Play clock at 3. Daniels has to hurry, and he does. Rush coming after him. Protection holds up. Now can he navigate? Only back to midfield. It's 4th down and decision time for Kansas.
And I don't think there's any decision here. I think you got to go for it. You're at midfield. Your quarterback's comfortable again, affecting the game this way. And they did a great job. That's an adjustment they made in the halftime locker room. They've been getting that all-up look from Kansas State. So they max protect that, slide the whole line right, insert the running back and tight end off the left-hand side. And now they're going to get ready to bust out their best for this 4th and 3.
0 for 2 on 4th down today. Daniels fumbled, and the Cats pounced on it already once. Off that first read, trying to find it on 4th down, and he does. In the clutch, Emmanuel Henderson Jr. Don't make it Pickett. Pickett with the catch for 6 and a first down.
That's how you pick it up if you're looking for the first down. And there's just going to be a mesh concept. You're getting receivers coming across the middle of the field, just trying to get loose, and he does a good job finding space at zone defense. Jalen Daniels puts that ball a little bit behind to sit him down, and you know you're going to take the shot. So Pickett holding on to the ball on a tough, slick day. Huge pickup on 4th down.
Cam's coming off a season-high 82 receiving yards. Last time out at Texas Tech. A couple of big catches already on this possession. New first down for Daniels. Hits the U-turn. Now he's in trouble. Finds Pickett again. A lot of work to get back to 2nd and 10, but they'll take it. There's an injured Cat deep in the secondary. Justice Clemens, senior corner there.
Another guy who'd been banged up in recent weeks. Part of a secondary that did its job there. Covered down on a shot down the field. Forced Daniels to scramble around, buy some time, make a, quite honestly, dangerous outlet throw to the right side.
Timeout in Lawrence as they attend to Justice Clemens. Here's a look at what happened to Justice Clemens, helped off the field, a senior corner, after Kansas was able to move the chains on 4th down to extend this possession.
You saw him locked up in coverage on the outside here. In the midst of that play, just pulls up, not willing to put any pressure on that right leg. So certainly hope you get good news, but always afraid when it's a non-contact look like that.
Just below 3 minutes to go. In this 3rd quarter, 2nd down awaits the Jayhawks. Daniels pulls and dashes up the middle for a new first down at the 31-yard line of K-State. A dozen more for Jalen Daniels.
Only 94 yards passing on the day for Daniels, but read option here. Cody Stufflebean crashing down, respecting what Daniel Highshaw's done all day. And Daniels not only calls his own number, but replaces and gets back on that track.
Hand off Highshaw. We've really got to get sack yardage out of college quarterback rushing stats, because even with the sacks that Daniels has taken today, he's at 54 net yards. So he's the leading rusher, even if the box score doesn't say it.
JB, you're preaching to the right choir as a former college offensive lineman. That is a scourge and needs to be removed from the sport so these guys can get credit. I couldn't agree more. An astute observation from an incredibly smart man himself.
We will not mention the hand measurement at the combine ever again. Long wait for this 2nd and 9 snap. Daniels will take it from empty. Free runner on the blitz. He made a miss. Flips his hips and fires. It's incomplete, but it could have been much worse.
Great play by Daniels. Free blitzer coming right up the middle of the offensive line on that play. And he used that athleticism to get out of it. Left guard late coming back. Amir Herring, it looked like trying to come over and take a piece off him. Daniels almost able to get the completion. Hits right off the head of Highshaw, who was running there with Desmond Purnell.
11 play the drive coming up. Kansas has already converted a 4th down to get here. They gained 45 yards on this possession. They're falling behind by 2 touchdowns again. From the pocket, arm hit, fluttering ball falls to the turf.
Referee signaling looked like that got tipped at some point.
Let's get Obi Izor some credit.
Gets his big paw up on the play and just gets a pinky on that as the field goal unit now comes out for Kansas.
47-yard attempt for Laith Marjan. He hit from 55 going to the half in Lubbock last time out. Graphic tells the story. I'll keep my mouth shut. Field goal on the way. 22 straight. That streak dates back to his time at South Alabama. It's the longest active streak in college football, as we showed you. Late just matched a Kansas record of 11 straight field goals made, specifically to his time here in Lawrence.
And you just artfully dodged the announcer jinx in a way that I find admirable.
I'm not going to step into those waters in a rivalry game. I know that tempers are running hot on both sides, and that's what we love about being here for the 123rd Sunflower Showdown.
Productive drive for Kansas, once again led by the legs of Jalen Daniels. You keep it within arm's reach. Your defense going to have a big drive here as you're staring down the final minute and a half of this 3rd quarter. Imperative that if Kansas State gets anything out of this next drive, it's only a kick one way or the other. So you give yourself and your offense that's lacked that explosion you've become accustomed to, the time they've clearly needed for these drives to stack up and make points.
See Bryce Norrenberg, the freshman, back to receive as Marjan has it teed up. Laith was once cut from his soccer team as a teenager, picked up football just to stay in shape. Now he's a scholarship kicker in the Big 12. A booming ball. Comes down on the goal line. Here come the Cats. Oh, what a hit. Quan Robinson with a full head of steam. And you know, you pointed this out. Good for Norrenberg to bounce back after some ball security issues to begin with that.
Good for bouncing back. Better for Robinson coming down and going full missile mode. Clean hit. Low hit, hits that target zone that's gotten smaller and smaller for defenders and tacklers to try and have to get to, and sends a message.
Condensation pops off the equipment too. Make a big hit in the rain, it really jumps.
Tailor-made for high def.
After a Jayhawk field goal. Avery Johnson with a new possession. Devon Rice's tailback. Off play action. Over the top. Full send. Jace Brown. Gone. 78 to the house. Keep an eye out to make sure there's no flags down. So far, they stay in the pocket. There have been instances around college football where this is interpreted as live ball taunting, but it goes as a score. It's 34-17.
And I'm glad they didn't call it. I generally think that's lame. And in this case, you were worried about a little Deshaun Jackson. It looked like the ball came loose at the end of that play, but a great one-on-one win for Jace Brown. Now at 160 yards on the day, his 5th 100-yard game of this career.
Jayhawks settle for a field goal. Cats strike with an explosive Avery Johnson to Chase Brown. Longest play of the season for the Cats.
And you had a single high safety look, man-to-man coverage. You see the man turn from the corner on the outside, and he just beats him clean off the line of scrimmage. An outstanding throw by Avery Johnson. Drop it in the bucket so that he doesn't have to break stride, can maintain full speed, and get all the way to the end zone where he takes his sweet time sauntering in.
I think the important thing here, he's looking, but he's not pointing at anyone. He's not staring anyone down. But again, there have been instances in college football where this has brought the flag out. Now, if it's an end-of-game situation and the offensive player is draining clock, that's good to go. But I think moving forward, you might see more flags dropped in that situation. I'm with you. In this moment, in this game, let's let the players decide.
And more lucky there, you saw him reach the ball out across the goal line and then drop it. That's always the coaching point that I think if you're Chris Kleiman on the sideline, you rightly go over and make and say, hey, understand this is an emotional game. You just made a big play. We need to secure every pass and ball into the end zone to close this out.
Fair catch signaled for and taken by the Jayhawks. And now there's no margin for error left for Jalen Daniels and Kansas.
And the nature of this offense gonna have to change now. While you've still got the whole fourth quarter, it doesn't have to be full air raid. What we've seen all day, the big plays for Kansas State, the time of possession. Kansas had the ball for almost 29 minutes to Kansas State's 15:30. Kansas State's been able to strike quick and answer, and it's been a slow trickle down the field for Kansas to get points on the board. Yes, you've got to kind of start to take the governor off this thing. No pun intended, make this happen.
The Governor's Cup on the line. For the better part of a generation, it's lived in Manhattan. High shot through the left side. 3, maybe 4. We have seen Le'Shawn Williams a bit today, the senior from Chicago, but this has been High shot's moment. Final minute of the third. Daniels shoots it left and complete. Shy of the line to gain. Quebec has got a catch and secures 3rd down and 1.
Tempo, tempo, tempo on this drive right now as they get Pickett over onto the left-hand side.
Under center sneak. They need the 35, and the spot appears to have it. That may take us to the 4th.
It looks like we'll get just that.
In this frame, Kansas State with 2 touchdowns. The Jayhawks only a field goal. Kleiman and company potentially closing in on 17 straight. It'll take everything that Daniels and Leipold have left to snap the drought on a rainy day in Lawrence. The Sunflower Showdown.
It's time to go.
It's out on the edge and into the end zone. High shot. Still on his feet. He flexes. Would not be denied. With a miscue. It's scooped. It's scored. What a redemption moment for Ralph Ortiz. Avery Johnson calls his own number.
Look at the hair, feathered and flawless. Poseidon, the god of luscious locks.
Spoken with just the right amount of envy from both of us as we go to the 4th quarter. Kansas State in control, 35-17. 17's the number they're looking for, as in 17 straight in this rivalry. Daniels got some ground to make up. Against a 4-man rush, they set up the screen. Pickett's got it with blockers. 1st down in midfield. Rex Van Wy wraps up the tackle, but not before they get a drive started with 14 yards on that screen.
Screen been one of their more effective pass plays on the day. Get a big chunk here. Continue to search for explosives.
Linebacker blitz. It's picked up. Daniel shoots. Denied. Quay Moss and VJ Payne in coverage there. A pass breakup.
It looked like Emmanuel Henderson and Bowden Gruen both at the point of attack, not sure who was supposed to be getting the football there. Usually in man coverage, you're trying to wait for those crossing routes to clear each other, get a little separation. That time, right in both of the mesh points, you've got two defenders there.
Daniels bouncing. May have been deflected again. Did not come out of his hand cleanly. And now it's third in the full sticks.
Malcolm Alcorn Crowder providing the pressure on that play. And you know, at this point of the game, fourth quarter, down 18, it's probably 4-down territory and plus territory. You've got two to work with. In the middle of the field, been your friend right now. Although going there requires you to test Desmond Purnell, who's always lurking, waiting to get his hands on another football.
Another linebacker attacking for K-State. Daniels stays alive. Not once, but twice. A desperation flip, it's incomplete. That turns 4th down and 25 into 4th and 10. Stufflebean had him in his claws.
And you see that slide protection. It gets the matchup for Chidi Obiizor on a tight end that he wins almost instantly. Stufflebean comes to try and clean it up. And just before those knees hit the ground, a massive play to set up 4th and 10 here for the Jayhawks.
Timeout, Kansas, before they take it. With 14 minutes and change, it's way too early to say this could decide it. But I mean, this feels like a play that if Kansas can't convert, their hopes dim significantly.
Well, the way that Kansas State's been operating on offense today has really eliminated any margin for error for a Kansas team on the other side that has failed to remove the lid from this Joe Klanderman coached Kansas State defense. And I think you also have to give a shout to the defensive front. We mentioned had lost their best pass rusher coming into the game. Toby Sami, 5th in the Big 12 in sacks per game still at this point in the season. And the rest of this group has stepped up. They've made Jalen Daniels uncomfortable all day long. And they're going to try to do it once again here with 4th down.
To your point about the lack of explosives, the longest Kansas gain on the day is a 15-yard Daniels run. Their longest pass completion, a couple of 14-yarders. Got to have it 4th down from midfield. Daniels just saved 15 yards of potential sack. Now can he convert? Blitz picked up. He tries one middle. It's incomplete. No flags down. The Wildcats take over.
Coy talked about it earlier in the game. Kansas State's defense changing the picture, sending a blitzer off the right side, getting hands up on the football in the middle of the field. And a turnover on downs puts Kansas State back on offense next.
Just to reset what's at stake in the 3rd longest uninterrupted series in FBS history. The last 16 have belonged to the Cats. They're looking to extend that streak with a 4th quarter lead. Last year, a narrow victory to preserve the streak, 29-27. As we pick up this 4th quarter, it's 35-17 K-State with the ball at midfield after a takeaway on downs. Joe Jackson's been the lead back. He's trapped behind the line and flung for a loss. Keenan Caldwell, a senior defensive tackle, shows up with a TFL for -6.
Started his first game of the season against Texas Tech, and I was down on the field before the game. You can see why. That's a big man up front. Extremely active, got in the backfield there, and that's the kind of splash play you need right now if you're Kansas defense trying to give your offense another shot at this.
He too, a 6th-year senior with his last crack at K-State. Henry Johnson clapped for the snap. Jayhawks selling out to stuff that run, and still to be behind the chains for 3rd down.
You see the mode DK McDonald and this defense are in. They're sending bodies downhill every snap. So potential opportunity for one Avery Johnson quarterback run, maybe draw in this situation, take advantage of that aggressiveness. Or like we've seen from Kansas on the other side, you can try and get a screen right behind that level of blitzers and pop a big game on this play.
Pretty incredible what K-State's done offensively today without using Oakley much, not even in this formation. 3rd down, 13. Quarterback, keeper, dodging Jayhawks. A must-have stand for DJ Graham and KU here. 4th down, Cats punting.
Great series from this Kansas defense. Aggressive, 3rd down there, you show more bodies, both linebackers up in the middle. Drop it back off, give your quarterback no chance to try and hit the ball downfield and hit a big play on you, force him to keep the ball in his hands and then rally and tackle. As you've got 2 returners back now for Kansas.
They're going to spark something on special teams. And nothing doing. Covered well. Tate Nagy with some misdirection from Quebeca. Kansas State smothers it. 12 minutes to go. Their lead still 35-17. Adding to why this is such a high leverage game from the K-State perspective, they got Texas Tech coming to Manhattan next. Then a bye. So as they battle for bowl eligibility, right now it's 3 wins away. If they can bank this one down to 2, and I think most importantly, they've looked like the preseason pick that had a number next to their name in this month of October. Daniels had that shotgun snap slip through his hands, now trying to make lemonade. Another negative as Ryan Davis covers it, and we've been saying a lot about Davis today. It seems like he's been in the mix at every critical juncture.
They expected him to be one of their guys. That snap hits Daniels right in the hands. It's at eye level. That's just a miss by the quarterback on a day when we talk about ball security. A slick field out here with the rain that's falling.
4 Cats coming after him. They puncture his pocket. They sack him. 4th of the day for K-State. It ties their season high from Dublin in week 0.
Well, we've talked all day about Kansas State's defense changing the picture. This time, just a straight-up one-on-one win. You're going to see the big fella in the trenches right here, Malcolm Alcorn Crowder. Just beats the guard with a swim move.
3rd and 22. Little check down over the ball. High shot, airborne. Did well to hang on to it. Gets to the 30. 16 yards to give him a chance on 4th down. Daniel Cobbs with the tackle.
So Cam Pickett been a really reliable target for Jalen Daniels in these high leverage situations in the slot on the left side.
Daniels, 4th down throw. I don't think Emmanuel Henderson Jr. ever got eyes on it. And the Jayhawks give it back on downs. Donovan McIntosh in coverage there, the sophomore corner. And Kansas State is closing in. You are watching Big 12 football on TNT Sports, presented by Modelo. Modelo also gives us a look ahead at the remaining schedule for Kansas State.
3 byes in a season, starting the year off in Dublin. So getting that extra open week. And you look after this, Texas Tech, could argue the most talented team in the conference, especially on defense. Then another bye before the home stretch, fighting for bowl eligibility.
Avery Johnson under center now. He's got 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing, 2 through the air. Opens up and gives. Joe Jackson carrying the rushing load. His offensive coordinator Matt Wells told us this week that Joe's been so even-keeled and strong-minded. He's become a better practice player in particular as they look to fill the void of Dylan Edwards.
Already surpassed last year's rushing and receiving totals. We mentioned his prowess out of the backfield, but 88 rushing yards in the second half against TCU. career high in rush yards and carries. You could feel that momentum as you get more reps under your belt in this offense that, as you pointed out before rightly, hitting its stride ever since that bye after the Arizona game.
Got a new left guard in the game, Amos Talalele, in for Portier, who was shaken up early. Did play off, but now they make a change as they dash up the middle, barreling for first down yardage below the 20 and into the red zone. Kansas State asserting its will with 10 on the turf.
An easy way to neutralize all of those blitzes we saw on the prior drive from the Kansas defense. Run downhill right at them. There's 9 minutes and 28 seconds left in this game, but this is 4-minute offense mode for Kansas State, where you're knowing, they're knowing, we're going to put the ball on the ground and try and run this thing, but you want to break their will in this situation and finish the game on your terms.
New first down at the 9-minute mark. Johnson, hands off. Another nice run for Joe Jackson. He's been slippery. He's been physical. Adds 8 more to his total.
He's going to follow his puller from right to left, but watch the cut at the second level. Gets up, gets in space, and gives DJ Graham the stanky leg. Working up a lather up front right now. This is the kind of drive you dream of. Bunch of big guys sitting in a dark offensive line meeting room, hoping you get the chance in a rivalry game to ball up that fist. Go out there and unleash it.
Junior from Wichita at the controls for K-State. Decides to give, and this time, Kansas pulls it down, 3rd and short. Let's give Kamara the tackle there to make him snap it again.
And boy, all those runs up the gut right now. You still got to have the discipline, if you're Bengali Kamara, if you're Trey Lathan, to keep an eye out for the quarterback pulling it out the backside, having an easy walk-in if all of a sudden you start to over-index on that rushing attack.
Do simple better was the Kansas State message during the open weekend as they prepared for the Sunflower Showdown. Now they got the game on the ropes. Looking to run for a new set of downs. It's an and goal situation for Joe Jackson and his Cats.
I know we talked about Jim Zabrowski on the other side being the math major, but this was an easy math problem for Kansas State on this side of the ball. Everyone over to the right side of the formation. You got light numbers to the left side of the formation, and paints a clear picture for Avery Johnson at quarterback as you decide whether you're going to pull it, whether you're going to potentially throw it, or whether you're just going to do that give for the first down.
Garrett Oakley is the tight end left. 3 receivers split out right. 6th play of the K-State drive after another 4th down takeaway. 2 yards. Johnson with a flag down. Driven out of bounds at the 4. It's Alex Bray on his back. Let's see if they back up this K-State offense.
Holding, offense number 77, 10-yard penalty, first down.
And that is the sophomore from Santa Clara, California, the new left guard, Talalele.
Quarterback lead toss going to the left, so he's out as the puller. And you see that jersey grab in the open field. Joe Jackson had done a good job cleaning up color once again, the way we saw in the first touchdown run for Avery Johnson. Hard to resist that urge, but you have to at guard in that situation.
Precious seconds just disappearing from any Kansas hopes. This is now a 4-minute drive and counting. Avery Johnson checks the clock and claps for the snap.
Well executed by Avery Johnson on this drive. You mentioned the clock. Part of that 4-minute offense is you're breaking the huddle around 10 if you're getting in the huddle. You're snapping that under 5, usually around 3 seconds is the goal. Bleed every second off that you can while you lean on them up front.
Just thinking back to that schedule we showed you and the Baylor defeat, I'm sure the Cats would love to have that one back. I think there's a real case to be made. They should be on a 3-game winning streak. Can't get that one back, but they can win another rivalry contest against the Jayhawks.
snuffed out here. It'll be 3rd and goal. Even a field goal here is meaningful as they continue
Second charge, timeout of the
to
half.
press the issue, and they force a timeout.
Reset the game clock to 5:33.
1 more remaining for Wildcat.
5-3-3.
I showed you what's next for K-State. How about the Jayhawks? They were up a win overall coming into today. They're at 4-3. Even if they fall to 4-4, they're home next week against Oklahoma State. Definitely a path to bowl eligibility. Certainly.
Trip to Tucson.
Reset the game clock to 5:35.
Take on Arizona.
5-3-5.
And then at Iowa State, home versus Utah to finish up. So you can see the way forward, but in order to get there, Kansas, especially on offense, going to need to be a lot more consistent and get back to the explosive plays that were a hallmark coming into this game, especially with Emmanuel Henderson at wide receiver.
Hiding how much of a setback this would be to have narrowed the competitive gap in this rivalry, to have taken 2 one-score losses the last couple of years, to have the deficit all the way down to 2, and now to potentially lose by multiple touchdowns would be a real setback.
And to see it come in part due to some of the same gaffes, turnovers, special teams blunders that have been a part of the recent history of this rivalry in a way that's negatively impacted Kansas.
So backed up out near the 20-yard line. This is an and goal situation, an obvious run. Jackson with a flag down, and now a second reining in. The Kansas State sideline is fist pumping here.
Wonder if that's in the area of a face mask. Usually in the middle of traffic like that. Didn't see any obvious holding.
Personal foul. Face mask. Defense number 94. Half distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Blake Harrell got caught, and you could tell based on the body language from the far sideline, they knew they had a free first down coming.
Counter run, going from left to right.
92.
Reaching out, trying to make a play, and that's the difficulty. You're trying to fight over the top of back blocks on the defensive front. Easy look, and now inside the goal line is Lincoln Cure, the all-world freshman, makes his way onto the field. He's lined up at that X-receiver out at the left side.
So technically 3 tight ends on the field, but they align him differently.
An athlete like that, you can have a lot of options on the menu.
Avery Johnson, and goal. Hands off. Jayhawks make him snap it again, and at this stage of the game, K-State is more than willing to take the time.
No question.
Greg and Shannon, the parents, 3 sisters in the family as well. Talk about houses divided. We showed you in our pregame show the outfit that she had set for today. Aces.
Boy, what a tough position for mom to be in. As I know from my own loving mother, you're only as happy as your least happy child. And so coming into this game, you knew one was going to be on the losing side. And so no surprise to see her a little bit sullen in the stands.
Avery on the move to the pylon, and he delivers the dagger.
Well, hey, you give mom something to smile about on one side. For her freshman son, Lincoln Cure, and only right as Kansas State looks to shut the door on this rivalry game. That Avery Johnson, who got the day started with a rushing touchdown and has been aces through the air, gets to punch it in once again and put that speed on display.
A midseason turnaround for Avery Johnson and Kansas State. It has been a triumphant month of October. The extra point added to their total, 4:17 remaining. And as the skies open in Lawrence, the K-State reign will continue in the Sunflower Showdown. We started the day talking about how much this rivalry means and how much it's amplified by the fact that both quarterbacks have experience in this Sunflower Showdown. Avery Johnson with a career day on a big stage.
He has been efficient and explosive. He's made plays with his legs to start and finish the day, with his arm in the middle. Him and Jace Brown had that connection up and running all afternoon. It's been incredible to watch.
Simon McClannon with the right-footed boots. Quebec with the return. Keep weaving into some space to the 35. Let's hear a little bit more about Avery Johnson.
My dad literally makes the best ribs in the world.
There's a half a rack in there for everybody, but it's a full rack of ribs for every one of y'all. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
You got to eat the salad first, just because if you don't eat the salad first, you're not going to eat it. And then after that, you got green beans and cheesy potatoes. So you eat everything and then you eat the ribs last, because you don't want to start with the ribs. I always say the best for last.
I know you're salivating, Mike. Hang on 1 second. That was 12 Uncovered, our TNT Sports docu-series going inside the campuses of all of these programs. We've got a new quarterback, Cole Ballard, and now your food commentary can commence.
Really had to show that in the fourth quarter as I'm actively starving up here.
There's no chance you're starving. You brought your brisket from last night to breakfast today, my friend.
You bring it down to the lobby buffet, you ask them to mix it in with the eggs. It's shameful that I even had leftovers, but the folks at Q39 made sure that we had more brisket, burn ends, and mac and cheese than we possibly knew what to do with. And no surprise, Avery Johnson's offensive line been going to work for him, getting fed like that by the quarterback.
A pre-snap penalty here as Cole Ballard gets another opportunity in this showdown.
Offense, number 75, 5-yard penalty. First down.
Cole also played in 2023. Calvin Clements was questionable coming into this game, and he and the Jayhawks had a really rough night on their offensive line against maybe the best defensive front for sure in the country down in Lubbock.
Yeah, him and the rest of the Big 12 in the country going up against what might be the best front seven in college football.
Ballard sits in the pocket, whistles one, tip drill and taken away again. Gunnar Maldonado's turn. It's a takeaway downpour for Joe Klanderman and the Cats. A season-high 4 takeaway, and they visualize these.
Another tip drill interception. Just up over the outstretched hands of Pickett. Maldonado, the former captain at Arizona. And you mentioned that visualization. We talked to Joe Klanderman, the defensive coordinator, said on Friday nights they try and find NFL and college film of players in similar situations to the one they think their guys are going to be in, making turnover-worthy plays, helping them look and see themselves in there. And ever since they started doing that, the turnovers have come in bunches. They talk about it all the time. They said one of the Des Purnell interceptions from the other week was the exact same clip from an NFL game that they had showed him. And so we'll have to wait until after to find out if that was the case yet again.
A lot of reserve opportunities to be had here, including Ontario Elston Jr., a freshman tailback. Blake Barnett, the kind of running quarterback to fortify what Avery Johnson does, is out today with the hamstring. So the junior from Sioux Falls, Jacob Knuth, has the honors here in the final 3 minutes.
Knuth, big body there in the backfield. But you mentioned Barnett, who we had seen in packages with them. How unfair to have a quarterback with Avery Johnson's athletic profile, and then at Barnett, who was a Colorado high school state 100-meter champion, back in there too. An embarrassment of riches and speed.
Think about how this game started. We know how emotionally charged the booth was today here in Lawrence. To win the toss, to defer, to kick it away and force a fumble and pounce on it, go up 7-zip. If the story of the day was, hey, this was meant to be for the Jayhawks, you certainly could have understood that as an opening salvo. Instead, completely different. It turns into a blowout for the reigning champs.
Kansas was able to close the gap with that long drive before the half as well. They had plenty of opportunities, but credit to Kansas State for absorbing every blow and coming back swinging on their own as we hit the 2-minute timeout. Welcome back to Lawrence. 2 minutes left. Kansas State up 42-17 in no small part due to the turnovers forced by special teams and defense. The leader in non-offensive touchdowns going back to 1999, but this defense harassed Jalen Daniels all day in the pocket. change the picture on him at the second level, created takeaway opportunities, visualize an attack from start to finish here as they look to close out an impressive victory.
Not yet victory formation because they're in 3rd down and long. And you know, Mike, when you look at how K-State has turned its season around, why do they look the part of a top 25 team again? This is it. Over the last 5 games, a +10 turnover margin. It's more than that, but that set the table.
It's good work if you can get it, right? And turnovers, not always something you can predict, but something you can put yourself in position. The way they have with the way they've structured the defense, the downs and distances they forced Kansas and opposing offenses into to create opportunities for those plays. All of it works in concert and provides extra opportunities for an offense that we've mentioned time and time again has really found itself going back to their first bye, simplified their formula, simplified their call sheet, and allowed their athletes and their offensive line to go out and be great.
After falling behind by a touchdown today, they ripped off 21 unanswered points to have a 21-14 lead at the half, and then they have really asserted their control here in the second half. And so looking ahead now, we mentioned maybe the top team in the conference, a contender for the college football playoff. Texas Tech is next. They get a chance to dream big and take a swing.
Certainly, and we know Texas Tech on the other side been dealing with some injury. No Skylar Gill-Howard up front as he's been down and dealing with injury. Romello Height, one of their great pass rushers, been banged up. Quarterback, we know Baron Morton been off the field. Will Hammond had to go in moonlight. And so you've got an opportunity, especially playing the caliber of football you do now, to believe you can go toe-to-toe with anybody in this incredibly deep conference.
Man, what a day in the Big 12, too. Still undefeated. 11th ranked BYU on the road. Iowa State gets a chance. And look at this. A seam opens for Knuth. Popped down inside the 10. 6'4", 220. The junior got loose for nearly 40 yards.
And that touchdown saving tackle may have saved Knuth from having to make the decision. You know, every coach is screaming, get down, let's end this game on our terms. A guy getting his opportunity might be thinking, that's 6 points, I'm going to get the end zone. And instead, we don't have to wonder. He gets dropped down inside the 10, and they get to get in the best formation in football. Too tight diamond, victory kneel.
They got a few taps on the pads from Garrett Oakley, his veteran tight end. Who knew that this one had been clinched? 42-17 is the final in the 123rd Sunflower Showdown. For the better part of a generation, the Governor's Cup has resided in Manhattan.
You feel for Jalen Daniels, whose prolific career at Kansas ends without a win over Kansas State. You see the mutual respect. We talked about the animosity between fan bases, these two coaches, these two staffs, tons of love and respect for one another. But for Chris Kleiman, an impressive 17th straight win in this series for the program overall, and another impressive win for him at the helm of this program.
6,202 days coming into this Saturday afternoon in deep October, and another calendar will turn before the Jayhawks' next chance.
I mentioned 17 straight, the last 7 of those with Chris Kleiman at the helm. High expectations for this team, stumbled out of the gate early. But every offseason, every program in the country is trying to build so they're playing their best football come November. Kansas State's got a chance to do just that with some high leverage games still to play.
So at 4-4, they cap a convincing month, looking very much the part of the contender they were cast as this summer. At 3-2 in league, they'll take a swing at Texas Tech next. Here's Cole.
Coach, your quarterback Avery Johnson looked like the dual threat wonder that we all know he could be. What do you have to say about his performance today?
Yeah, I thought it was a team win. I thought everybody played really well. It's a tough place to come in and play. We get down 7-0 right away, and shows the resolve of our guys. We got a good football team. Slipped up a little bit early on, but this was a big game and a big win for our program.
Given the nature of the rivalry, this juncture in the season, just how significant was this?
This is a huge win because it keeps us in the race in the Big 12. That's the biggest thing. And I've got so much respect for Lance Leipold. He's done one hell of a job here. And but I'm so happy for our kids. This is a tough game for us every year. When you win the thing 16 in a row, there's a lot of pressure. Now it's 17, and I'll worry in a year about the 18.
Next up is Texas Tech. They beat Kansas by the exact same score we saw today. What do you know you'll be up against when you face the Red Raiders?
Man, I'm going to enjoy this. It's only 2:15. I'm going to go enjoy this. We'll worry about them later. Appreciate you guys.
Coach.
Thank you, Coy. Final thought, Mike?
Just as he said, incredible resolve from this team. He mentioned he has the Kansas guys on the squad talk to the rest of the team about the importance of this rivalry, and you could see how much it mattered to them out on the field today.
Our final score, 42-17 for our producer, Bert Bondi, and our director, Brent Christan. From Mike Golick Jr. and Corey Wire and the rest of our TNT Sports crew, I'm JB Long. So long from Lawrence. You've been watching Big 12 football on TNT. Let's send it back to our studio. Lefko, Takio, and Victor.